gang, gummy 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 gang. COSTA guy. Gummy gang, 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 gummy gang. Gummy gang, 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 gummy gang. Gummy gang, 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 gummy gang.
We MMA-HOLES, community be so dope. We got the best watch-alongs, the internet say so. Who you gonna pick now, the over or the under? Chris will give his picks out, and I don't trust no other. Main card or the prelims, it don't really matter. UFC fight nights and pay-per-views on a platter. So holes and omoplatas, blood nose and split bananas, thug rolls and empanadas, big bowls of marijuana. Gummy gang, gummy gang, gummy gang. I need 2 joints to hang in the homie Craig gang. I'm grinning ear to ear, amped up, showing fangs. It's time to watch the fights, beast mode, watch 'em bang.
Welcome to Gummy Gang. All right, guys, we're going to watch the debate. 2024 presidential, first debate of the year. And then we're going to watch UFC 303 press conference.
Wonderful.
I did not see either. I did not see either of them. So what I view with my eyeballs will be for the first time ever. This is all brand new to me. Did not see any of this stuff. So I'm ready to cringe for the debate, and I'm ready to cringe for the UFC 303 press conference. Jess, you ready?
I'm ready, Moss.
Okay. Chat, you ready? The debate is like 2 hours long. Uh-oh, that's not good. I have to fast forward. It's going to be a lot longer than that when I'm chopping this thing up. If it gets really boring, I'm just going to stop it. But anyway, here we go. You know what? I should put on glasses to make myself look more sophisticated. Now, those you may not know this, but I'm behind the scenes, I'm very political. I vote every election. That's a lie. Haven't voted since the Obama. Who was Obama against? Well, now you know who I voted for. I voted for Obama. Who was he against? The first. Oh, that old white dude. John McCain. Yeah, I couldn't vote for McCain. I wanted to, but Sarah Palin, which I have my Sarah Palin glasses on, but I couldn't even imagine. I couldn't fathom McCain dying and Sarah Palin taking over the country. But if Obama died, well, then we would have had Joe Biden as president. What would that be like? Jess, what would that be like with Joe Biden as president?
I'm not here to give opinions. I'm just.
Could you imagine?
Enjoy the content.
Could you imagine what that would be like? All right. 2012 was Obama Romney. Oh yeah, that's right. Right, Obama Romney. That's right. That's correct. I forgot about that. Politics. Oh, I love politics. I love it so much. No, I don't. I don't love politics at all. I don't really talk politics. So what you're going to be hearing from my mouth is I'm not plugged in, I'm not plugged in. My dad's plugged in. I don't listen to 400 podcasts or have Fox News or CNN on 24/7 in the background. I don't listen to any of that shit because I have a life. But tonight I don't have a life because I'm going to be watching this debate. And how many people in the chat? 2008 was Obama McCain. Thank you. How many people in the chat were, actually, that was the last time I voted, yes. How many people in the chat actually saw this debate tonight? Me, myself, and Jesse did not. And if you did, what did you think? There's really nothing to spoil, right? It's like, wait until you hear the part where President Biden says this. I mean, nothing could spoil what's going to happen here because I think the delivery alone should be entertaining enough as it is. I watched most of it. Okay, I saw some of it. Hell no. So, oh, wow, some people really didn't pay attention or didn't watch much. I feel I should get high during this too. So that's what we're gonna do. I never watched the debate under the influence, intoxicated. So I'm gonna do that. Cheers.
Are you gonna take the whole one again?
No. What?
Can you do me a favor? Can you just keep them closer to the center of the table?
Can I what?
Keep the bottles closer to the center of the table.
Yeah.
Both
I got
of
very
them.
high the other night.
Both bottles.
Very, very, very high.
Why did you just completely ignore what I said?
Okay. This is not. It's
Thank
not
you.
nag your husband stream.
No,
Don't
I'm not
worry.
trying to nag you. I just don't want Ellie getting them.
All right, Ellie's not going to get him. All right, here we go. Let's get underway. The presidential debate. Let's go, baby. And who won the debate is just okay. She's a little under the weather. We saw my parents today. We went to the pool with the kids. And my parents bought a snowbird place, but it's very, very dusty and dirty. So my mom is trying to really clean it up. And we left the place, like, we're still recuperating from it.
It's like going into a war zone.
Yeah, there's a lot of dust. My son, it was weird because my son, his face was like, he looked like a mutant.
It flared up.
It was all swollen and he was like having an allergic reaction. When he came home, it was completely gone. So then we realized, okay, it must have been the dust. And I know I'm allergic to dust mites as well. So my mom's got to feel like horrible. Anyway, you don't care about that. We care about the debate. What's more cringe, Gary versus MVP or Trump versus Slow Joe?
I think they both have their own levels of cringe.
Yeah, I didn't see. After this, I'm gonna go right over to the UFC 303 press conference, which I have a feeling is horrible. That's why we didn't react to it. That's why I didn't rush home and take. I mean, I know it's bad. It can't be good, right?
For responses and rebuttals. An additional minute for follow-up clarification.
It's like the tail of the tape. What is it?
Response is at the moderator's discretion.
When it's time for a candidate to speak, his microphone will
This
be
is so dumb.
Oh, look at
What's that?
they're gonna turn on and off the mics now.
And this is CNN, so
when it's time for the candidate to speak. So this way Trump can't talk over the moderator anymore. He can't.
he's not going to bombard. But I mean, I'd love to be the mute guy for
Yeah,
this.
he can't interrupt the rebuttals or anything.
Yeah, there's no fucking way. I guarantee he still interrupts him. Right? Trump is not that type of guy. I mean,
Oh my
or everything
God.
will be muted.
That's so funny.
on, and his
It's
opponent's
just going to be Trump's mouth flapping around.
microphone will be turned off.
Now, let me just make this clear. Listen, I'll be completely honest with you. I don't think anyone likes Biden, right? I think we're all on the same page. I'm not even a Trump guy. I think Trump's hilarious, but I'm not really a Trump guy. But I don't think. And does anyone like pro Biden? Does that even exist? I don't think that even exists anymore, does it?
Oh, Moss.
People like Biden?
I think you're walking on very thin ice with the
No,
chat.
I don't care if you're a liberal or whatever.
There's gonna
but
be somebody in there who's like,
there's not one
very
person in this
pro-Biden.
chat, guaranteed. It's probably not going to be many people tonight, regardless. Is there anyone pro Biden? I'm not going to lash on. I don't see how it's even possible.
imagine being the reason why they had to add in the muting mics during a presidential debate.
Well, I mean,
Could
it
you
could be worse
imagine?
things. Definitely a boring debate. Oh, it's boring, is it? All right, we'll see how far it can go. Joe lost 10-8. I mean, did anyone think that Joe had a shot in this thing? Are you going into this thing thinking that Joe's gonna fucking?
I'm just
Kick
curious
his
to
ass?
see how Trump handles it after all of the legal stuff going on.
Okay.
Should a candidate interrupt when his microphone is muted, it will be difficult
Look at these two.
to understand for viewers at home. At the end of the debate, each candidate will get 2 minutes for closing
What's
statements.
with the drums in the background?
There is no studio audience tonight.
This
Pre-written
fucking snare
notes,
going.
Props or contact with campaign staff are not permitted.
Could you imagine fucking this woman? Could you imagine this woman? She's probably like that in real life too, right? Do you think this is just for the cameras?
Are you listening to
No,
this?
I'm not listening to
Ross?
any of this. What?
Jesus. They're saying that no props or anything like that is permitted. I'm assuming because the last time he had his MAGA hat and he was using that as a
No
prop.
props.
Yeah.
So no puppets? They can't have puppets at the debate?
Every rule that they're instilling this time around is because of Trump.
Oh, yeah, we weren't going to go live. Hey, Ozzy Cat's in the chat. We weren't going to go live. But this is, I mean, I was looking online. Everyone was watching this. I'm like, I feel like I got to watch it, right? There was like 4 million people watching one of the streams. I was like, holy shit.
during the debate. By accepting our invitation to debate,
Look at her.
both candidates
She's like
and
Marilyn
their
Manson.
campaigns agreed to accept these rules.
Now, please welcome the 46th President of the United States, Joe Biden.
Yes.
Oh, for a second I thought that was Trump in like one of those fake silicone masks.
This looks CGI. He had trouble getting there.
It's an AI. It's an AI. That's
not
real.
him. That's a fucking
That's
puppet.
not him.
He looks like Jigsaw.
It's like it's like that robot.
It's not much better. Oh my god, dude.
There's no way Joe Biden's real.
Look at these two. This is America, guys. Just take a good look. Take a good look at these two fucking idiots. Anyone from outside America watching this? What is this? This is a comedy act. Look at these two old geriatric. I mean,
that
oh my
that
God.
Joe Biden is not the real Joe Biden.
No, it's not him.
That's
He actually looks like John McCain.
That's definitely a robot.
Gentlemen,
That's John McCain from the dead.
thanks so much for being here. Let's begin the debate, and let's start with the issue that voters consistently say is their top concern.
Who did that girl's eyebrows go up to? Did you see that? Watch her. Was it Trump or Biden? Watch.
Start with the issue that voters.
What was that?
To
Who did
her
that go-
producers.
Producers? Or you don't think it was to
No,
one of the
they're not-
presidents?
No.
No?
No, they're not looking directly at them.
consistently say
She's
is their
looking at him.
top concern.
She was giving the eyes.
Economy. President Biden, inflation
Yeah.
has slowed,
Oh,
but
maybe you're right.
prices
Trump.
remain high. Since you took office, the price of essentials has increased. For example, a basket of groceries that cost
they're talking about
$100
inflation.
then
Oh, I'm curious.
now costs more than $120. And typical home prices have jumped more than 30%. What do you say to voters who feel they are worse off under your presidency than they were under President Trump?
Why does he look
We gotta take a look
terrified?
at what I was left when I became president and what Mr. Trump left me. We had an economy that was in free fall. The pandemic was so badly handled. Many people were dying. All he
Oh,
said
this
was,
guy
it's
is
not
gonna
that
croak.
serious. Just inject a little bleach into your arm. You'll be all right. The economy collapsed. There were no jobs.
Oh, my God.
Unemployment rate rose to 15%. It was terrible. And so what we had to do is try to put things back together again. And that's exactly what we began to do. We created 15,000 new jobs. We brought out in a position where
Oh my God. This is not real. This
There's
is not real
no
life.
way, even if he won the presidency this time around, there's no way he'd survive all 4 years.
Guys, what is this? Is this a joke? Like, is this a fucking joke? I can barely get the words out of my mouth. Like, he's trembling. Now, I know he used to have a stuttering problem. Did you know that? Like, when he was a
I'm
young
more
man.
concerned about his physical health.
What do you mean? He's in
He looks
peak
like he's
shape.
about to topple over.
He doesn't look a day older, 110.
we have 800,000 new manufacturing jobs, but there's more to be done. There's more to be done. Working class people are still in trouble. I come from Scranton, Pennsylvania. I come of household.
Oh, there you go. The Office. This is literally Steve Carell right here. This is Scranton. Isn't that where The Office was? This is what's Steve Carell's character's name?
Michael Scott.
Yeah, this is Michael Scott. This is an elderly Michael Scott over here.
Where the kitchen
That's our fucking president. This is
He
our
has
president.
a cold? More like COVID. He has COVID. It sounds like it's COVID.
Well, if the things weren't able to be met during the month, it was a problem. Price of eggs, the price of gas, the price of housing, the price of a whole range of things. That's why I'm working so hard to make sure I deal with those problems. And we're going to make sure that we reduce the price of housing. We're going to make sure we build 2 million new units. We're going to make sure we cap rents so corporate greed can't take over. The combination, what I was left with in corporate greed, is the reason why we're in this problem right now. In addition to that, we're in a situation where if you take a look at all that was done in his administration, he didn't do much at all. By the
He
time
sounds
he left,
congested.
things were in chaos. Literally chaos.
Trump should hand him a tissue. Like, hey, you need to blow your nose or something? You sound like you got a lot of mucus in there.
And so we put things back together. We created, I said, those jobs. We make sure we had a situation where we brought down the price of prescription drugs, which is a major issue for many people.
It would be so funny if Trump did the Volk and pretended he was falling asleep. Like, that would be so fucking funny. Like, he's like...
Eventually he will.
That's so funny.
to $15 for a insulin shot as opposed to $400. No senior has to pay more than $200 for any drug, all the drugs they can include beginning next year. And the situation is making.
He sounds like he can hardly breathe.
To all Americans.
He's struggling. He's struggling.
Yeah, like
He's like it's like he's out of the hospice doing this. Like, what the fuck's going on here?
We're working to bring down.
kinda
the
feel bad
prices
for
on
him.
the
This
kitchen.
is not right.
yeah, I
This is
feel
wrong.
like they're just like forcing him out here. This poor guy probably just wants to rest.
He literally sounds like he has 24 minutes left to live. That's what he sounds like. It's like, okay, let's just let him go.
table, and that's what we're going to get done.
Thank you. President Trump?
We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. We have never done so well. Everybody was amazed by it. Other countries were copying us. We got hit with COVID. And when we did, we spent the money necessary so we wouldn't end up in a Great Depression, the likes of which we had in 1929. By the time we finished, so we did a great job. We got a lot of credit for the economy, a lot of credit for the military, and no wars, and so many other things. Everything was rocking good. But the thing we never got the credit for, and we should have, is getting us out of that COVID mess. He created mandates that was a disaster for our country. But other than that, we had given them back a country where the stock market actually was higher than pre-COVID, and nobody thought that was even possible. The only jobs he created are for illegal immigrants and bounce-back jobs, a bounce back from the COVID. He has not done a good job. He's done a poor job, and inflation's killing our country. It is absolutely killing us.
Well, that part's true.
Thank you,
Inflation
President Biden.
fucking sucks.
I mean, he didn't say anything wrong. He did not say anything wrong there.
Yeah.
And why did his mic sounds way clearer? This is weird. It's on CNN. You think Biden would sound fantastic, but Trump sounds light years like clear, right? It just sounds better too. I
No,
mean, 'cause
they
he's
said
sick.
that Biden has a cold, and he sounds like he's struggling to breathe. Like he can
Look at
hardly
that
get
shot.
words out.
Look at this shot of Biden. This is really bad, man. This is not good. This is all the Democrats got going on here. Look at this fucking guy. Oh boy, this poor dude, man. I swear to God, it looks like he was just embalmed.
I just said it looks like he's a robot. Like it doesn't even look like his real face.
Oh man.
Like it looks like one of those silicone masks that you put over him. Like Bad Grandpa, you know?
Well, look, the greatest economy in the world. He's the only one who thinks that, I think. I don't know anybody else who thinks he had the greatest economy in the world. And, you know, the fact...
You could actually see where his head is pulled back. You could actually see it. Like, I'm not, like, just trying to completely shit on the guy, but I will right now. Whoa, there I go. Just when I start pulling my head back, you could see, like, no forehead. Like, the wrinkle lines don't typically go in that direction. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're kind of, like, here, and they just kind of, like... sadly go into your scalp.
It just looks like a mask to me.
This looks, it's pulled up. His wrinkles are pulled up. His chin is not even real. Like he's got a reconstructed chin, and they gave him a Uriah Faber chin. All right, let's listen to what he has to say. We're not giving him a fair shot here, Chess. It's just very distracting, you know.
The matter is that we found ourselves in a situation where his economy, he rewarded the wealthy. He had the largest tax cut in American history, $2 trillion. He raised a deficit larger than any president has in any one term. He's the only president other than Herbert Hoover who's lost more jobs than he had when he began, since Herbert Hoover. The idea that he did something that was significant. And the military, you know, when he was president, they were still killing people in Afghanistan. He didn't do anything about that. When he was president, we were still finding ourselves in a position where you had a notion that we were this safe country. The truth is, I'm the only president this century that doesn't have this decade, that doesn't have any troops dying anywhere in the world.
He went from this century to this decade. You know, quick.
Because he forgot how old he was.
This century. And then it's like, I mean, this decade. That's a big difference, no? I mean.
President Trump, I want to follow up
He
with-
says. Dude went from century to decade. Excuse me, decade.
if I can.
What a fucking retard, man. Oh, my
Am I
God.
allowed to respond to him?
Well, I'm going to ask you a follow-up. You can do whatever you want with the minute that we give you. I want to follow up. You want to impose a 10% tariff on all goods coming into the U.S. How will you ensure that that doesn't drive prices even higher?
It's not going to drive them higher. It's just going to cost countries that have been ripping us off for years, like China and many others, in all fairness to China. It's gonna just force them to pay us a lot of money, reduce our deficit tremendously, and give us a lot of power for other things. But he made a statement. The only thing he was right about is I gave you the largest tax cut in history. I also gave you the largest regulation cut in history. That's why we had all the jobs. And the jobs went down, and then they bounced back, and he's taking credit for bounce back jobs. You can't do that. He also said he inherited 9% inflation. No, he inherited almost no inflation, and it stayed that way for 14 months. And then it...
Yeah, what is he talking about the inflation shit? What
Yeah.
inflation did he inherit? We
Yeah, I don't
literally
Go ahead.
exploded when he was a president. So how did he inherit that shit?
I think maybe he's referring, like, not necessarily inherited the inflation. Maybe he just inherited all the economical problems that led to the inflation.
Which
maybe.
every president does. Every
Right.
president inherits some sort of economic headache, right? But what the fuck is he talking about the inflation?
Blew up under his leadership because they spent money like a bunch of people that didn't know what they were doing, and they don't know what they were doing. It was the worst, probably the worst administration in history. There's never been. And as far as Afghanistan is concerned, I was getting out of Afghanistan, but we were getting out with dignity, with strength, with power. He got out. It was the most embarrassing day in the history of our country's life.
President Trump, over the last 8 years, under both of your administrations, the national debt soared to record highs. And according to a new nonpartisan analysis, President Trump, your administration approved $8.4 trillion in new debt, while so far, President Biden, you've approved $4.3 trillion in new debt. So, former President Trump, many of the tax cuts that you signed into law are set to expire next year. You want to extend them and go even further, you say. With the U.S. facing trillion-dollar deficits and record debt, why should top earners and corporations pay even less in taxes than they do now?
Because the tax cuts spurred the greatest economy that we've ever seen just prior to COVID. And even after COVID, it was so strong that we were able to get through COVID much better than just about any other country. But we spurred, that tax spurred. Now, when we cut the taxes, as an example, the corporate tax was cut down to 21% from 39%, plus beyond that. We took in more revenue with much less tax, and companies were bringing back trillions of dollars back into our country. The country was going like never before, and we were ready to start paying down debt. We were ready to start using the liquid gold right under our feet, the oil and gas right under our feet. We were going to have something that nobody else has had. We got hit with COVID. We did a lot to fix it. I gave him an unbelievable situation with all of the therapeutics and all of the things that we came up with. We gave him something great. Remember, more people died under his administration, even though we had largely fixed it. More people died under his administration than our administration, and we were right in the middle of it, something which a lot of people don't like to talk about. But he had far more people dying in his administration. He did the mandate, which is a disaster, mandating it.
I would love to see that stat. I'm curious how he rebuts to this, because if that is true, that's kind of crazy, right? So when Trump was taking care of business here, less people died through the whole COVID nonsense, and then all of a sudden Biden takes over, and there's more stricter mandates and whatever, and more people are statistically dying from COVID, right? I would love to know that. I'm curious what he has to say here.
Yeah, I don't know how true that is.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty bold, claim.
Went out, he did a mandate on the vaccine, which is the thing that people most objected to about the vaccine. And he did a very poor job, just a very poor job. And I will tell you, not only poor there, but throughout the entire world, we're no longer respected as a country. They don't respect our leadership. They don't respect the United States anymore. We're like a third world nation between weaponization of his election, trying to go after his political opponent.
It is true. Like, anyone outside the U.S. in the chat, let me know. Do you respect the U.S.? I mean, I don't think you do. Like, and I wouldn't either. With when you got the clown show going on here, it's more of a circus than anything right now. I don't think I've ever seen anything like. Actually, no, I'm wrong. Bush Jr. That was pretty nuts. That guy was a pretty big dope. But Biden got him by a mile, I think. Right?
So I wanted a fan.
Oh, Daddy Cowboy coming in.
A sold-out crowd
to
walk out that tunnel, blow the roof off this place, and look over and see my son like, wow, Dad, that's you. And see the look on his face, wow, Dad. Wow, Dad.
Go.
You make me feel so proud. Daddy Cowboy. You make me feel so proud. Daddy Cowboy. Don't cry, Daddy Cowboy, don't cry.
Don't cry, Chet.
You're making me feel so proud. You see the look on his face, Cowboy. Wow, Dad. Wow, Dad.
Thank you, Pale Monkey. Appreciate you.
Biden can't form a sentence and Trump can't give an answer to a question. What a shit show.
Oh, my God.
America is so fucked. Hashtag Strickland for Prez.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Pale Monkey. Hey, I appreciate that donation because I guarantee this is going to get swiftly demonetized. So thank you so much, man, for the $650. All right, so if you're just jumping in, we're listening to the press conference. The press conference is after this. Have a little edible in the system. We got Jesse in the corner, and we're watching the Biden versus Trump first presidential debate of 2024. I'm actually very curious. I'm not a political person. This is more of a pop culture thing for me. You know, like I am by no means super politics guy. And after this, I'll just stop talking about it all over again. But this is interesting to me. It is interesting because we have our existing president on the right, and we have our former president on the left. And our existing president is a complete embarrassment, like in all aspects. I am hoping that this is somewhat competitive in a debate. I'm not very optimistic about that, but we shall see.
Of the things he's done, we've become like a third world nation, and it's a shame. The damage he's done to our country, and I'd love to ask him, and will, why he allowed millions of people to come in here from prisons, jails, and mental institutions to come into our country and destroy our country.
President Trump,
You know what's funny? When I listen to my dad talk on the phone, if he's talking politics, he loves this shit. I literally feel like I'm listening to Trump. My dad is like, he literally word for word, he's got the playbook. It's bizarre. Everything that Trump's saying right now, I feel like I'm on the phone with my pop. This is the shit that my dad says constantly. So now I know exactly where it's coming from. My dad is literally, what the fuck? The hell was that?
The Browns love it. The Yellows love it.
Thank you. That scared the shit out of me. Thank you, Zereesley, dropping the $2. Thank you for the demonetization. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you. Anyway, my dad sounds like a cool dad. My dad is literally, he is so into this, and that's probably why I'm not that into it, because I don't, I can't get that passionate about this shit. I can't. Like it. I'd be pulling my hair out.
We'll get to immigration later in this block. President Biden, I want to give you an opportunity to respond to this question about the national debt.
Okay.
He had the largest national debt of any president in a 4-year period, number one.
Huh.
Number two, that $2 trillion tax cut benefited the very wealthy.
He said Trump had the largest national debt of any president.
Is that true?
Are we just lying, or are these facts? Doesn't sound very national.
I saw in the chat someone said that they fact-checked a couple of the things and found out that they were false. So I'm assuming they're just trying to...
Why would you blatantly lie in a situation like this?
Yeah, like they're just pushing weight, I guess.
I agree, Moss. I don't really care most of the time. It definitely gets interesting around election. Yeah, listen, Trump is making me interested in this. Let's be honest. Like this guy did The Apprentice, for God's sakes. Can you toss that off?
Oh, I can.
Like this guy. This guy used to be on Howard Stern talking about like groping fucking chicks and doing these crazy, like Trump is it's a wild dude, man. The fact that he weaseled his way into becoming the president is nuts to me. Like it's still nuts to wrap my head around.
Nuts to Howard too.
Oh, Howard, I don't even want to get into that. But so I have to watch this because it's if this is two other knuckleheads going at it, I probably wouldn't even be watching this. Trump is the only reason why I'm watching this. Let's be serious. And the fact that our existing president seems like a mushmouth.
Do is fix the tax system. For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America. Billionaires in America. And what's happening? They're in a situation where they, in fact, pay 8.2% in taxes. If they just paid 24%, 25%, either one of those numbers, they'd raise $500 billion, I should say, in a 10-year period. We'd be able to.
This guy keeps on fucking correcting himself. He can't get this. He can't get the fact out without
the stats.
Backing up and saying, I mean this. Like that doesn't. I understand you have a speech problem. I get it. That's what you come from. You got the stuttering, whatever. But you're the president, bro.
His mind is probably going at this age. Like it's not.
Right,
he's got to keep on resetting. The Adderall's got to kick in or something.
$100 billion, I should say, in a 10-year period. We'd be able to wipe out his debt. We'd be able to help make sure that all those things we need to do, child care, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our health care system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the with the COVID, with dealing with everything we have to do with look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump.
Oh
right, he did
no,
Oh my God.
that's like literal dementia right there. He literally forgot.
Trump didn't have to say a goddamn thing.
Oh,
Didn't have to
that's
say a
awful.
damn thing. Look at Trump's face here. He's just staring at him like, bro, I don't have to say a damn word,
His
man.
mind is literally going.
He's malfunctioning. Legit malfunctioning.
This poor man.
Look,
He's wheezing for air. Listen.
everything we have to do with, look,
You could hear the life leaving him. Dude, this is craziness. All right. Why is this guy here? Like, what are we doing here?
Because he's a puppet. It's not his choice. Everything is done pretty much behind
Where's
the
Camel
scenes.
Toe? Can Camel Toe be doing this for him?
Camel Toe is the puppet master.
Yeah, Camel Toe should be on the stage with her fucking dumbass face. And she should be doing this. She wouldn't be
This guy is
like
just a
fucking
face.
dying. What?
He's just a face. He has no. I don't think he has any sort of like.
Listen to the life leaving him. Listen.
with the
Watch Trump.
with the COVID, excuse me, with dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump.
Thank you, President. Your
Oh,
time is up.
God. It's brutal. It's brutal that they're using this man in this condition.
CNN can't even save this guy. This is terrible, man. This is such an embarrassment. Sound like Robert Whitaker the other night.
Trump.
Well, he's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death, and he's destroying Medicare because all of these people are coming in. They're putting them on Medicare. They're putting them on Social Security. They're going to destroy Social Security. This man is going to single-handedly destroy Social Security. These millions and millions of people coming in, they're trying to put them on Social Security. He will wipe out Social Security. He will wipe out Medicare. So he was right in the way he finished that sentence. And it's a shame. What's happened to our country in the last 4 years is not to be believed. Foreign countries, I'm friends with a lot of people, they cannot believe what happened to the United States of America. We're no longer respected. They don't like us. We give them everything they want, and they think we're stupid. They think we're very stupid people. What we're doing for other countries, and they...
You know what's smart about Trump? This dude is talking like us. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think that's why he has such a big pull.
Yeah, he doesn't sound like the most intelligent person
he's,
out there.
He's just identifying.
He's
with
talking
the
like the fucking guy in the locker room. He's talking like my dad on the phone. You know, like that's what he's talking like right now. He's not talking like a politician. Like he's saying, I got some friends. You know, and these friends say this. Like he sounds like he's at Starbucks. You know, at the fucking waiting for his coffee to come. You know. Oh my God.
They do nothing for us. What this man has done is absolutely criminal.
Thank you, President Trump.
He just filleted him. Like legit filleted him. Man. Listen, I want to make this very clear. I'm not a massive Republican dude. I'm not Mr. MAGA man. I'm not that. That's why I don't talk about this shit a lot. And a lot of times I counter points that my dad tells me because my dad is swiftly on one side. I will say this: I'm severely leaning. Especially throughout COVID, you know, my opinions have changed tremendously in a lot of things. So it's like seeing this, you know, unfold. What W, Dad? Yeah, listen, Dad. But Dad was, you know, my dad was back in the day. Everyone was a Democrat back in the day. You know?
Really?
Yeah. Oh, fucking hell.
I thought everyone was a Republican back
I tell you
in the
what,
day.
a lot of the Republicans you know in my
Is that
family
true?
were probably
I thought,
Democrats back in the day.
No,
It's a
I
whole
thought
different ballgame.
it was Republican.
No.
Everyone was Republican.
Oh, see, Jesse wasn't
And
around.
Democrat was like the fad.
Not New York.
Really?
No, actually, Democrats back in the day
Are you
were kind of,
sure?
yeah, they weren't, it wasn't the woke Democrat. You know what I'm saying? It's not what we have right now. What we have right now is a disaster, a Democratic disaster right now. That's
Well,
what we
isn't
have right
New
now.
York a purple state now?
New York is, no.
They're not purple?
No.
So they're still a blue state?
Oh, yeah. New York is pretty liberal. Yeah. And you know who says it well? He's a piece of shit, but he says it very well. Bill Maher.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Maher is one of the most left guys out there, right? But even him, he's even saying shit that's anti-Democrat. A lot of which you wouldn't hear back in the day, but now you hear him because it's just idiocracy. Like there's so much nonsense going on right now.
Yeah.
Especially when you have this fucking wacko as our president. Like, I mean, not even a wacko. He's just a geriatric mess. You know? New York is a Republican state? What? The fuck? Johnny Smith, what are you talking about? Republican?
No, it's a Democrat state.
What is he talking about? What part of New York are you from? It's not Republican, I can tell you that much. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. Like, I hate talking about this shit. It drives me nuts, but it's really wild to watch unfold. It really is.
Dana?
This is the first presidential election since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. This morning, the court ruled on yet another abortion case, temporarily allowing emergency abortions to continue in
Johnny
Idaho.
Smith. John,
despite that state.
Dude, no, it's not. What part of New York are you from? Aren't you upstate or some shit? Are you like in a bubble somewhere? What are you talking about? It's the most democratic state out there.
Wait, I want to hear about this.
What is he talking about?
I want to hear about
what
this
part of New
Roe
York are you
v.
from? I
Wade
can't.
thing.
I think he's just fucking trolling.
State's restrictive ban. Former President Trump, you take credit for the decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, which returned the issue of abortion to the states.
Correct.
However, the federal government still plays a role in whether or not women have access to abortion pills. They're used in about 2/3 of all abortions. As president, would you block abortion medication?
First of all, the Supreme Court just approved the abortion pill, and I agree with their decision to have done that, and I will not block it. And if you look at this whole question that you're asking, complex but not really complex. 51 years ago, you had Roe v. Wade, and everybody wanted to get it back to the states. Everybody, without exception. Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives, everybody wanted it back. Religious leaders. And what I did is I put 3 great Supreme Court justices on the court, and they happened to vote in favor of killing Roe v. Wade and moving it back to the states. This is something that everybody wanted. Now, 10 years ago or so, they started talking about how many weeks and how many this, getting into other things. But every legal scholar throughout the world, the most respected, wanted it brought back to the states. I did that. Now the states are working it out. If you look at Ohio, it was a decision that was, an end result that was a little bit more liberal than you would have thought. Kansas, I would say the same thing. Texas is different. Florida is different. But they're all making their own decisions right now. And right now, the states control it. That's the vote of the people. Like Ronald Reagan, I believe in the exceptions. I am a person that believes. And frankly, I think it's important to believe in the exceptions. Some people, you have to follow your heart. Some people don't believe in that. But I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and the life of the mother. I think it's very important. Some people don't. Follow your heart. But you have to get elected also. And because that has to do with other things. You got to get elected. The problem they have is they're radical because they will take the life of a child in the 8th month, the 9th month, and even after birth. After birth, if you look at the former governor of Virginia, he was willing to do this. What? He said, we'll put the baby aside and we'll determine what we do with the baby, meaning we'll kill the baby.
What?
Yeah.
What happened is we brought it back to the states. And
is that true?
Yeah, they were talking about after birth abortions, which is basically the baby's
this is
born.
one state that was doing something crazy like
yeah,
that.
I don't know the details, so don't ask me about the details. But I do know.
What kind of nonsense? That's insane.
Yeah, they were talking about a baby being born. You could even abort a baby after it was born.
That's like Game of Thrones shit. That sounds like some medieval shit.
Yeah.
What are you kidding me? What the hell? Where would that ever be allowed?
The country is now coming together on this issue. It's been a great thing.
Thank you. President Biden?
It's been a terrible thing, what you've done. The fact is that the vast majority of constitutional scholars supported Roe when it was decided. Supported Roe. And that's this idea that they're all against it is just ridiculous. And this is the guy who says the state should be able to have it. We're in a state where in 6 weeks, you don't even know whether you're pregnant or not, but you cannot see a doctor, and have him decide on what your circumstances are, whether you need help. The idea that states are able to do this is a little like saying we're going to turn civil rights back to the states, let each state have a different rule. Look, there's so many young women who have been, including a young woman who just was murdered, and he went to the funeral. The idea that she was murdered by an immigrant coming in. They talk about that, but here's the deal: there's a lot of young women who are being raped by their in-laws, by their spouses, brothers and sisters, it's just ridiculous, and they can do nothing about it.
No, he's saying,
and they try to arrest them on
Can you
he's saying,
explain this?
He's saying that Trump allowing the states to make the decision on whether or not abortion is okay was absolutely ridiculous, because there's many women who get raped and have unwanted pregnancies and now can't get abortions because they live in a state where that state decided not to do it, not to allow it. So basically, Biden's saying,
how did you get that out of what he said? Because I didn't hear any of that.
You just have to listen.
I did anyone in the chat hear what Jesse heard? Because that makes sense what she said. But what Mr. Biden said, I didn't get any of that. Like, honestly, I feel like she said something completely different. He was just mumbling through some nonsense.
No, he's talking about the unwanted pregnancies that result from rape.
You really got that from what he said?
Yes.
Holy shit. Hey. Thank God Jesse stayed up for this.
I'm about to go right now.
His words literally just fucking bounced up. I'm just playing dumb. I swear to God. I didn't hear a fucking word this man just said. I heard everything she said. How could he not articulate this? And this is what I'm saying. Like, at least when Trump is talking, he's speaking to the average guy. This guy's, I don't know how the fuck you got that. Anyway.
Across state line.
Thank you.
There have been many young women murdered by the same people he allows to come across our border. We have a border that's the most dangerous place anywhere in the world, considered the most dangerous place anywhere in the world. And he opened it up, and these killers are coming into our country, and they are raping and killing women. And it's a terrible thing. As far as the abortion is concerned, it is now back with the states. The states are voting. In many cases,
so he's saying there's immigrants coming in and raping Americans? Is that what he's saying?
Yeah, because Biden was saying...
It's a little severe,
Biden
right?
was saying women are getting murdered, like raped and then murdered.
But so over the top. Like, you see what Trump is saying?
It happens every day.
I mean, I'm sure there are situations that happen. I'm sure.
No, it happens every day.
With that migrants are just coming in and just randomly raping
Immigrants
people?
come in and they either rape, murder, or brutally abuse women.
Well, put aside the immigrants. What about just the Americans?
It happens to
everyone's
everybody,
getting raped. So people are just animals.
But they're referencing the immigrants.
Yeah, he's trying to use it as because of these immigrants are coming in here, so he's having a little, combining both. I don't know. It's so fucking over the top.
It's frankly a very liberal decision. In many cases, it's the opposite. But they're voting, and it's bringing it back to the vote of the people, which is what everybody wanted, including the founders, if they knew about this issue, which, frankly, they didn't. But they would have. Everybody wanted brought back. Ronald Reagan wanted it brought back. He wasn't able to get it. Everybody wanted it brought back, and many presidents had tried to get it back. I was the one to do it. And again, this gives it the vote of the people, and that's where they wanted it. Every legal scholar wanted it that way.
Staying on the topic of abortion, President Biden, 7 states, I'll let you do that. This is the same topic. 7 states have no legal restrictions on how far into a pregnancy a woman can obtain an abortion. Do you support any legal limits on how late a woman should be able to terminate a pregnancy?
I support Roe v. Wade, which had 3 trimesters. The first time is between the woman and the doctor. Second time is between the doctor and an extreme situation. The third time is between the doctor, between the woman and the state. The idea that the politicians, that the founders wanted the politicians to be the ones making decisions about women's health is ridiculous. That's the last. No politician should be making that decision. A doctor should be making those decisions. That's how it should be run. That's what you're going to do. And if I'm elected, I'm going to restore Roe v. Wade.
So that means he can take the life of the baby in the 9th month and even after birth, because some states, Democrat run, take it after birth. Again, the former governor of Virginia, put the baby down, then we decide what to do with it. So he's willing to, as we say, rip the baby out of the womb in the 9th month and kill the baby. Nobody wants that to happen, Democrat or Republican. Nobody wants it to happen.
You're lying. That is simply not true. The Roe v. Wade does not provide for that. That's not the circumstance. Only if a woman's life is in danger, she's going to die. That's the only circumstance in which that can happen. But we are not for late-term abortion, period. Period.
Under Roe v. Wade, you have late-term abortion. You can do whatever you want, depending on the state. You can do whatever you want.
No.
We don't think that.
Yeah, what's the legit? Who's lying?
No. So yes, technically Trump is telling the truth. Yes, you could have a late-term abortion, but Biden is also telling the truth that is only under dire circumstances in which the mother's health is literally, like, her life is on the line. And the only answer is a late-term abortion. That is literally like, it's not like people are just waiting until the 9th month and killing their babies. It doesn't work that way.
Shouldn't there be a fact checker in the middle of this? You know what I'm saying?
So they're both telling a truth, but they're also both telling a lie.
Now, when you have like people asking these questions, shouldn't there be a fact checker that just chimes in, like I don't know how you get it as unbiased as possible, but say like, couldn't like a president say, "Hey, can we get a fact check on that?" You know, and then, or actually, why doesn't Biden just say it? Like, I don't know. This is so fucking crazy, man. This whole thing is crazy. They're both fucking lying.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Trump obliterated Biden. He stayed cool and collected, but overall, Biden just got exposed for the old Alzheimer's patient he is. They let this happen. This will allow Gavin Newsom to run. Watching CNN disintegrate and admit that Biden has done his WW.
Thank you, Kainoto. Thank you. I don't think really Trump has to do much.
Yeah, I feel like Biden's kind of doing this to himself. Oh, actually, you know what? Biden's not even doing this to himself. Biden's team is doing this to him.
Yeah,
Biden should not be up there.
Yeah, this is there's no Trump could completely bomb and still beat him.
That's a good thing. We think it's a radical thing. We think the Democrats are the radicals, not the Republicans.
For 51 years, that was the law. 51 years, Constitutional Scholarship said it was the right way to go. 51 years, and it was taken away because this guy put very conservative members on the Supreme Court. He takes credit for taking it away. What's he going to do? What's he going to do, in fact, if the MAGA Republicans, he gets elected, and the MAGA Republicans control the Congress?
Did Biden just go Hulk Hogan right there?
What you gonna do?
What you gonna do?
And they pass on
Right? Did you hear that? Did he go a little Hulk Hogan?
What's he going to do?
What you gonna
do? In fact, if the MAGA Republicans,
when the Biden,
he gets elected, and the MAGA Republicans control the Congress, and they pass a universal ban on abortion, period, across the board.
A universal ban on abortion, or is he saying ban? What did he say there?
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening. Go ahead.
Congress, and they pass a universal ban.
What's a universal van?
Ban.
Van.
Ban.
We said van. You meant van. Ban, all right? Hold on, let's listen again.
On abortion, period, across the board at 6 weeks or 7 or 8 or 10 weeks, something very, very conservative. Is he going to sign that bill? I'll veto it. He'll sign it.
Thank you.
He said van.
Turn now to the issue of immigration and border security. President Biden, a record number of migrants have illegally crossed the southern border on your watch. Overwhelming border states and overburdening cities such as New York and Chicago, and in some cases causing real safety and security concerns. Given that, why should voters trust you to solve this crisis?
Because we worked very hard to get a bipartisan agreement that not only changed all of that, made sure that we are in a situation where
I'm very curious about this, and we're going to be pausing a lot. We're breaking this shit down, but this is what my father talks about constantly, right?
What are they talking about? Sorry.
The migrants.
Oh, okay.
That not only changed all of that.
What's he going to do when the migrants hop over the border and rape our women?
Because we worked very hard to get a bipartisan agreement that not only changed all of that, made sure that we are in a situation where you had no circumstance where they could come across the border with the number of border police there are now. We significantly increased the number of asylum officers. By the way, the Border Patrol endorsed my position. In addition to that, we found ourselves in a situation where when he was president, he was separating babies from their mothers, putting them in cages, making sure the families were separated. That's not the right way to go. What I've done since I've changed the law.
What do you think about putting migrants, separating the families and putting them in cages?
Yeah,
Do you like it? They probably should. They won't be
fucking tough because
they won't come. They'll be coming over anymore if they keep doing that.
No,
you know?
It's like
Wind up in a
there's
cage.
still humanity, Moss. Imagine being separated from your child.
Okay. All
and
right.
you know.
Let me ask you this though. It's pretty harsh, right? But when you have an epidemic of people flooding into the country, right?
Moss.
You might have to throw them in cages.
There's no excuse for ripping a child out of a mother's arms. There's just no excuse.
So what do you do?
You
throw the mom in the cage with
I
the kid.
agree that something should be done about the issue, but you shouldn't have to separate children from their mothers to do it.
What do we do? Kill them?
I don't know. That's why I'm not president.
How do you get them back? Like, what do? You just off them? Do you mow them down?
What is wrong with you?
Well, what do you do? Actually, what is the real answer? Like, all joking aside, what the hell is the real answer? You know, these people are fleeing. I understand why people are fleeing these countries because it's pretty bad, right? They don't want to be over there. They want to be where, you know, the grass is greener, the land of the free, you know? Taylor Swift is here. So I get why people want to be here. They're Swifties. But I don't know, man. And then people were like, well, we came from immigrants, right? But we're Americans. That's all that matters. Land of the free. Separate the children.
They asked Joe Dirt about opioids and he went off the rails. Started talking about microchips and something about North Korea and Samsung.
What?
All the talk about Biden being this virile, healthy man just got aborted on live TV.
We didn't get
Trump
to that
didn't
point.
have to do much.
Yeah, we didn't get to that point yet. I can't wait for that. Thank you, Kainoto.
CBD.
Little CBD
CBD. CBD.
from B-Man supporting the channel. Thank you, guys.
CBD.
Muchas gracias.
CBD. It helps with healing process and inflammation and stuff like that. So you wanted to get these for before or after the fight training.
Thank you,
Make
thank
your
you.
life a better place.
Thank you.
Has Biden even blinked once, Lamau?
I don't think he's allowed to. His skin.
He's a robot.
He's a clone. Thank you, guys. Thank you. This will get demonetized, so I appreciate the support. Now we get back into Biden talking about what they're going to do about those illegals.
Happened. I've changed it in a way that now you're in a situation where there are 40% fewer people coming across the border illegally. It's better than when he left office. And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look,
Oh my God.
we had the safest border in the history of our country.
Hold on.
All we had to do was
Thank you, Nick. Hey, shout out to
He's
Nick
so
Matthews.
like below the belt.
Thank you, Nick Matthews, for being part of the Gummy Gang clan over here, membering up in the chat. I appreciate you very much. Welcome, Nick. Thank you, Nick. You're the man. You're the man. Hold up, Nick. Hold up. It's for you, buddy. Thank you. The greatest second channel of all time. So Trump didn't understand what he said, especially at the end of it. And he said he doesn't think that Biden understood either.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look, we had the safest border in the history of our country. The border, all he had to do was leave it. All he had to do was leave it. He decided to open up our border, open up our country to people that are from prisons, people that are from mental institutions, insane asylum, terrorists. We have the largest number of terrorists coming into our country right now, all terrorists, all over the world, not just in South America, all over the world. They come from the Middle East, everywhere.
So, okay, one person said, Biden said 40% more, right? Or less people coming across the border, whatever the stat was.
Mm-hmm.
Trump didn't address that. Now Trump is countering and saying he had the best border control ever.
Right.
So you have one person saying that he made it
it's
better.
all just a bunch
The
of
other person
bullshit.
saying he was the best president of all time when it came to the border. So it's like, how do you
that's
have
why you have to fact check after these things and make sure that like you know what the truth is. So
well,
that
the problem is if you're saying this and it's not the truth, if you're throwing
their
this out there, it's
job.
not the
It's
truth.
politics,
to
Moss.
just fucking lie.
No,
How
it's-
do they expect?
It's politics. What do you think is happening
This
right
is
now?
nuts.
In
They're
the,
lying.
in the Capitol, in the White House. They're all lying about something.
Well, I know that. But
It-
I'm just
it's
saying,
just
it's
how
just
it works,
crazy how
Moss.
you just blatantly lie in front of millions and millions of
That's
people.
their job.
All over the world, they're pouring in. And this guy just left it open. And he didn't need legislation because I didn't have legislation. I said, close the border. We had the safest border in history. In that final couple of months of
He's saying the safest border in history. What do you think? Do you think Trump had the safest border in history?
I would be lying if I said I didn't.
He was pretty strict. He had the cages ready.
I'd be lying if I said I didn't like what he was doing with, like, you know.
But do you think that stat is true? And look at Biden's face. He's like, oh, just staring at him.
I don't know.
Wonder. I wonder if it's true. I mean, it could be. I'm not saying it's not. But how do you go from one statement to a complete, I was the best president of all time, right? When it comes to that.
presidency, we had, according to Border Patrol, who is great, and by the way, who endorsed me for president, but I won't say that, but they endorsed me for president. Brandon, just speak to him. But look, we had the safest border.
Okay, go ahead.
Whoa, what's wrong?
Nothing,
You
go
all right?
ahead.
Let's go, Brandon.
Border in history. Now we have the worst border in history. There's never been anything like it. And people are dying all over the place, including the people that are coming up in
Thank you,
caravans.
President Trump. President Biden?
The only terrorist who's done anything crossing the border is one who came along and killed three, under his administration, killed an al-Qaeda person come in and his administration, killed three American soldiers, killed 3 American soldiers. That's the only terrorist that's there. I'm not saying that no terrorist ever got through, but the idea they're emptying their prisons, we're welcoming these people, that's simply not true. There's no data to support what he said. Once again, he's exaggerating, he's lying.
President Trump.
What do you think, Jess? I don't know what he said. He lost me again. I got the part where he says he's exaggerating and lying, but everything else sounded like a bunch of
Basically saying
mishmash.
fact check what Trump said.
Okay, so Joe's saying he's right, Trump's saying he's right. This is crazy.
Wonderful.
Like, you just start zoning out when he talks.
Joe spent 3 years saying there's no border crisis and now all of a sudden there is one and it's the GOP's fault. He spent 3 years flying all these illegals in with the intent to allow them to vote because all models showed that legal Latinos are done with Dems.
Man, I tell you, it's one of the reasons why I did support Obama back in the day, because I look at a president, they need to be like a stoic figure that is very articulate and can read the script. Whether you believe or disagree, or you agree or disagree with what they are pushing at you, I mean, that's a whole nother story. But, you know, you got to be pretty articulate. You can't be stuttering and stumbling and losing your audience. And that's what Joe Biden does. Just completely loses the audience. Like, just loses you. He could be winning the fight, but it doesn't matter. The way he distributes the information, it's impossible to listen to and look at. Just a mess. I would love to know who's telling the truth, though. I'm kind of leaning in Trump's favor here because I don't know. I can't buy into what Biden's saying.
I'm staying on the topic of immigration. You've said that you're going to carry out, quote, the largest domestic deportation operation in American history, unquote. Does that mean that you will deport every undocumented immigrant in America, including those who have jobs, including those whose spouses are citizens, and including those who have lived here for decades? And if so, how will you do it?
Just 1 second. He said we killed 3 people. The people we killed are al-Baghdadi and Soleimani, the 2 greatest terrorists, biggest terrorists anywhere in the world, and it had a huge impact on everything, not just border, on everything. He's the one that killed people with the bad water, including hundreds of thousands of people dying, and also killing our citizens when they come in. We are living right now in a rat's nest. They're killing our people in New York, in California, in every state in the union, because we don't have borders anymore. Every state is now a border. And because of his ridiculous, insane, and very stupid policies, people are coming in and they're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen. We call it migrant crime. I call it Biden migrant crime. They're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen before. And you're reading it like these 3 incredible young girls over the last few days. One of them, I just spoke to the mother, and they just had the funeral for this girl, 12 years old.
I love when he goes into his story and his pitch of his voice changes. He's like, one of them lost their mother. Like he does it in such an obnoxiously over the top.
Mother.
What? I know, but the way he just says it, it's just so fucking funny, man. Dude's hilarious. Listen to the way he just completely changes it.
3 incredible young girls over the last few days. One of them, I just spoke to the mother, and they just had the funeral for this girl, 12 years old. This is horrible what's taken place. What's taken place in our country, we're literally an uncivilized country now. He doesn't want it to be. He just doesn't know. He opened the borders. Nobody's ever seen anything like. And we have to get a lot of these people out, or we have to get them out fast, because they're going to destroy our country. Just take a look at where they're living. They're living in luxury hotels in New York City and other places. Our veterans are on the street. They're dying because he doesn't care about our veterans. He doesn't care. He doesn't like the military at all. And he doesn't care about our veterans. Nobody been worse. I had the highest approval rating for veterans taking care of the VA. He has the worst. He's gotten rid of all the things that I approved. Choice that I got through Congress, all of the different things I approved, they abandoned. We had by far the highest, and now it's down in less than half because he's done all these great things that we did. And I think he did it just because I approved it, which is crazy. But he has killed so many people at our border by
Thank you,
allowing
President Trump.
all of these people to come in.
President
And it's
Biden.
a very sad day in America.
President Biden, you have the mic.
Every single thing he said is a lie. Every single one. For example, veterans are a hell of a lot better off since I passed the PACT Act. 1 million of them now have insurance, and their families have it. Their families have it because what happened, whether it was Agent Orange or burn pits, they're all being covered now. And his group opposed that. We're also in a situation where we have great respect for veterans. My son spent a year in Iraq, living next to one of those burn pits, came back with stage 4 glioblastoma. I was recently in France for D-Day, and I spoke all about those heroes that died. I went to the World War II cemetery, World War I cemetery he refused to go to. He was standing with his 4-star general, and he told me, he said, I don't want to go in there because they're a bunch of losers and suckers. My son was not a loser, was not a sucker. You're the sucker. You're the loser.
President Trump.
First of all, that was a made-up quote, suckers and losers. They made it up. It was in a third-rate magazine that's failing, like many of these magazines. He made that up. He put it in commercials. We've notified him. We had 19 people that said I didn't say it. And think of this. Who would say I'm at a cemetery or I'm talking about our veterans? Because nobody's taken better care. I'm so glad this came up, and he brought it up. There's nobody that's taken better care of our soldiers than I have. To think that I would, in front of generals and others, say suckers and losers. We have 19 people that said it was never said by me. It was made up by him, just like Russia was made up, just like the 51 intelligence agents are made up, just like the new thing with the 16 economists are talking. It's the same thing. 51 intelligence agents said that the laptop was Russia disinformation. It wasn't. That came from his son, Hunter. It wasn't Russia disinformation.
Oh, my God.
He made up the suckers and losers, so he should apologize to me right now.
4-star.
Yo.
Oh, boy.
Yo, he got lit up, man. Oh, my God. Like, it's almost like he literally threw the ball up and Trump just dunked it. Joe got the assist on that one. That's crazy, man. When you turn what they said and just roast them.
I'm curious what Biden's going to say.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Let's see. See if he can bounce back from that
The
one.
suckers and losers, so he should apologize to me right now.
4-star general standing to your side who was on your staff who said you said it, period. That's number one. And number two, the idea that I have to apologize to you for anything along the line. We've done more for veterans than any president has in American history. And they now are in their family. The only sacred obligation we have as a country is to care for our veterans when they come home and their families and equip them when they go to war. That's what we're doing. That's what the VA is doing now. They're doing more for veterans than ever before in our history.
All right, thank you so much.
Let's move to the topic of foreign policy. I want to begin with Russia's war.
Man.
I want to go to bed, but I also don't.
I can't fucking believe this.
Yeah, this is wild.
Damn.
Against Ukraine, which is now in
Damn.
its third year. Former President Trump.
You think the Democrats are scrambling now, finding another guy or gal?
Probably.
Like, we got to do something here. If you want a shot at this, Trump should win by a landslide.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to watch this from bed.
Dude, that's crazy, man. As the edible kicks in, this debate goes on. Man, if you're like super hardcore into this and you're super left, you got to be. I mean, how did you leave this? Maybe things will change. I don't see how it could get any better. How Biden can recuperate from this. But I mean, yo, this is rough, man. This is fucking rough.
Russian President Vladimir Putin says he'll only end this war if Russia keeps the Ukrainian territory it has already claimed and Ukraine abandons its bid to join NATO. Are Putin's terms acceptable to you?
First of all, our veterans and our soldiers can't stand this guy. They can't stand him. They think he's the worst commander-in-chief, if that's what you call him, that we've ever had. They can't stand him. So let's get that straight. And they like me more than just about any of them. And that's based on every single bit of it.
Listen. Oh, fucking, he's funny, man. He's funny. Look at Biden's face as he's just getting his shit pushed in. He's a funny motherfucker, man. Whether you like or dislike Trump, you have to admit the fucking dude is funny as hell. Oh, my God. Yeah, Johnny. All right, man. I think Johnny's very left, so I don't blame you, man. Take it, yeah. This is not easy to watch. If you're into, like, I don't know, if you believe hard in your in whatever party and it's getting roasted, I would leave too, man. It's bad, man. It's really bad. I understand. I get it, man. I kind of want to hear from the other side, though, to just, you know, any super democratic people in the chat, let me know what you think about this, because it's craziness, man. It really is. It's just a one-sided roast. This is like, it's like a title fight that's just completely lopsided.
Information. As far as Russia and Ukraine, if we had a real president, the president that knew, that was respected by Putin, he would have never invaded Ukraine. A lot of people are dead right now, much more than people know. You know, they talk about numbers. You can double those numbers, maybe triple those numbers. He did nothing to stop it. In fact, I think he encouraged Russia from going in. I'll tell you what happened. He was so bad with Afghanistan. It was such a horrible embarrassment, most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, that when Putin watched that and he saw the incompetence, that he should have fired those generals, like I fired the one that you mentioned, and so he's got no love lost, but he should have fired those generals. No general got fired for the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, Afghanistan, where we left billions of dollars of equipment behind. We lost 13 beautiful soldiers, and 38 soldiers were obliterated. And by the way, we left people behind, too. We left American citizens behind. When Putin saw that, he said, you know what? I think we're going to go in and maybe take this was his dream. I talked to him about it, his dream. The difference is he never would have invaded Ukraine, never. Just like Israel would have never been invaded in a million years by Hamas. You know why? Because Iran was broke with me. I wouldn't let anybody do business with them. They ran out of money. They were broke. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for anything. No money for terror. That's why you had no terror at all during my administration. This place, the whole world is blowing up under him.
Oh, my God, dude. He's blaming Joe for the world problems. Oh, my God. I'm curious to see what Biden's got to say. It's, oh, my God, dude. This is the gloves. The gloves are they're off. We're bare knuckling it right now. This is bad.
President Biden?
I've never heard so much malarkey in my whole life.
He says malarkey. Oh, my God. That's the thing he comes back with, malarkey. Never heard so much malarkey in my life. The dude's like with some 1920s term or some shit. When did malarkey start? Oh, fucking hell, dude. Hold on. Let's recuperate here. Oh, fuck, man. This is really way more funny than I want it to be.
Moss, you should have listened to all liberal news outlets tonight. I was watching about 20 channels in my lair. It's insane how they just all disown Biden.
Oh,
They're all
man.
agreeing that he's old and he cannot be allowed to run again. The left is crushed.
Yeah. So hopefully what happens here is we can unite, right? Let's get all the parties together. Let's get everyone together and say, okay, we don't want that, right? Doesn't matter which side Joe's on. Let's just all fucking get together, and come to an agreement. Now, I don't know if Trump is the answer, but I tell you what, Trump is literally the antivirus that we need right now. I mean, dude, it's nuts. This is craziness. Like Biden feels like we're being infected with this guy, and whatever the hell is supporting this guy. And I don't know. This is an infection in front of me. Now let's talk about malarkey. Thank you, Kainoto, for the donation. Appreciate that.
President Biden?
I've never heard so much malarkey in my whole life. Look, the fact of the matter is that we're in a situation where, let's take the last point first. Iran attacked American troops, caused brain damage for a number of these troops, and he did nothing about it. Recently, not when he was president. They attacked. He said they're just having headaches. That's all it is. He didn't do a thing when the attack took place, number one. Number two, we got over 100,000 Americans and others out of Afghanistan during that airlift. Number three, we found ourselves in a situation where, if you take a look at what Trump did in Ukraine, this guy told Trump, do whatever you want, and do whatever you want. And that's exactly what Trump did. to Putin, encourage him, do whatever you want. And he went in and listen to what he.
Antivirus, after what Trump did in 2020, I got to be honest with you. I didn't have many issues when Trump was in president, and I'm not a Trump guy. You could ask my family. I am not a Trump guy. I was like, there's no way this guy's going to be president. With that being said, when Trump was in charge, my bank account looked a lot better. The insurance wasn't as much for some fucking reason. For some reason, now everything between groceries to everything right now, how I live right now, is a million times worse than when Trump was a president. Now, whether it was going in this direction or not, maybe it could have been. But yeah. So he's the antivirus, yes. Because I got to be honest with you, I've never been more miserable, as an American citizen, as being under Biden. I got to be honest with you, it's embarrassing. Everything seems like it's a mess. Everything is a fortune right now. It's kind of crazy, man. I'm not either. He handled 2020 bad. Play on what you said. I mean, he handled 2020. What president has ever gone through what 2020 was? What president has ever had to go through that stuff? So we have no one to compare it to. No one. And I got to be honest with you, stimulus checks are coming in. We had our most profitable years as the MMA-HOLES during COVID. During COVID, we had our most profitable years as doing these channels. COVID. So I look at it like that. You know what I'm saying? I look at it like that. I'm saying to myself, life was pretty good when that guy was a president. I'm not even a fan of the dude. And I had nothing against Biden. I was like, all right, let's see what this guy's about. But I tell you what, he was horrible and still is horrible as a president. It's an embarrassment. It really is. He's a virus. We need to disinfect. We need to get this virus out of here.
He said when he went in, he was going to take Kyiv in 5 days, remember? Because it's part of the old Soviet Union. That's what he wanted to reestablish, Kyiv. And he, in fact, didn't do it at all. He wasn't able to get it done. And they've lost thousands and thousands of troops, 500,000 troops.
President Trump.
It's so crazy that it's on CNN, too. And it feels like Trump is getting the advantage, like in everything. Like in previous debates, it felt like Trump was they were trying to handcuff him. In this situation, it's almost like they're like, yeah, we got to get this guy out of here.
Back to you for 1 minute. I just want to go back to my original question, which is, are Putin's terms acceptable to you? Keeping the territory in Ukraine?
No, they're not acceptable. But look, this is a war that never should have started. If we had a leader in this war, he led everybody along. He's given $200 billion now or more to Ukraine. He's given $200 billion. That's a lot of money. I don't think there's ever been anything like it. Every time that Zelensky comes to this country, he walks away with $60 billion. He's the greatest salesman ever. And I'm not knocking him. I'm not knocking anything. I'm only saying the money that we're spending on this war.
United we stand, divided we fall.
That's right. Yeah, at the end of the day, I hope things get better. I really do. I don't care what party wins. I just want things to get better. And I'm good with the Biden thing. I think that experiment's done. I think we're done with that shit. That ship has sailed. I have in my family, or I should say on Jesse's side of the family, there's some, most aren't very liberal, but there is a select portion that is very, very liberal. LGBTQ community, all that stuff. And even when you bring up Biden to them, it's like, it's not the best guy. Not the best guy. People, it's okay to be wrong. It's all right. Some people just will sink with the ship, though.
And we shouldn't be spending. It should have never happened. I will have that war settled between Putin and Zelensky as president-elect before I take office on January 20th. I'll have that war settled.
Damn.
People being killed so...
What do you think? You think he's going to pull it off? Before the election?
Needlessly, so stupidly. And I will get it settled, and I'll get it settled fast before I take office.
Dude, what do you guys think? He's going to be able to pull that off?
Biden, you have a minute.
The fact is that Putin is a war criminal. He's killed thousands and thousands of people. And he has made one thing clear. He wants to reestablish what was part of the Soviet Empire, not just a piece. He wants all of Ukraine. That's what he wants. And then you think he'll stop there? Do you think he'll stop when if he takes Ukraine? What do you think happens to Poland? What do you think of Belarus? What do you think happens to those NATO countries?
He's not wrong about that. I mean, you don't think you can control Putin. That guy's a pretty evil dude.
And so if you want a war, you ought to find out what he's going to do, because if in fact he does what he says and walks away, and by the way, all that money we give Ukraine are from weapons we make here in the United States. We give them the weapons, not the money at this point. And our NATO allies have produced as much funding for Ukraine as we have. That's why we're strong.
Thank you. Moving on to the Middle East. In October, Hamas attacked Israel, killing more than 1,000 people and taking hundreds of hostages. Among those held and thought to still be alive are 5 Americans. Israel's response has killed thousands of Palestinians and created a humanitarian crisis in Gaza. President Biden, you've put forward a proposal to resolve this conflict, but so far Hamas has not released the remaining hostages, and Israel is continuing its military offensive in Gaza. So what additional leverage will you use to get Hamas and Israel to end the war? You have 2 minutes.
All right.
Number one, everyone from the United Nations Security Council straight through to the G7 to the Israelis and Netanyahu himself have endorsed the plan I put forward. Which has 3 stages to it. The first stage is trade.
Everything he says has 3 stages. It's like an SNL skit. Everything he fucking has, there's 3 levels to it. It's like a video game. You gotta get past one level, then you get to the next level, and then after the next level, you get to the next level. Everything's got 3 stages. This is the second thing tonight. He's got how many stages?
Hostages for a ceasefire. Second phase.
Hold on, I want to listen to the stages. Hold on, I'm talking over.
Endorse the plan I put forward, which has 3 stages to it. The first stage is trade the hostages for a ceasefire. Second phase is a ceasefire with additional conditions. The third phase is the end of the war. The only one who wants the war to continue.
Why does it have
Hamas,
to be split in 3?
Number one, they're the only ones standing out. We're still pushing hard to get them to accept. In the meantime, what's happened?
He's on a final stage of dementia.
The only thing I denied Israel was 2,000-pound bombs. They don't work very well in populated areas. They kill a lot of innocent people. We're providing Israel with all the weapons they need and when they need them. And by the way, I'm the guy that organized the world against Iran when they had a full-blown intercontinental ballistic missile attack on Israel. No one was hurt. No one Israeli was accidentally killed, and it just stopped. We saved Israel. We are the biggest producer of support for Israel of anyone in the world. And so there are 2 different things. Hamas cannot be allowed to be continued. We continue to send our experts and our intelligence people as to how they can get Hamas like we did bin Laden. You don't have to do it. And by the way, they've been greatly weakened, Hamas, greatly weakened, and they should be. They should be eliminated. But you've got to be careful for using certain weapons among population centers.
Just going back to Ukraine for 1 second. We have an ocean separating us. The European nations together have spent $100 billion, or maybe more than that, less than us. Why doesn't he call them and say, you got to put up your money like I did with NATO? I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars. The Secretary General of NATO said Trump did the most incredible job I've ever seen. They wouldn't have any. They were going out of business. We were spending almost 100% of the money was paid by us. He didn't do that. He's getting all. You got to ask these people to put up the money. We're over $100 billion more spent, and it has a bigger impact on them because of location, because we have an ocean in between. You got to ask them. As far as Israel and Hamas, Israel's the one that wants to go. He said the only one who wants to keep going is Hamas. Actually, Israel is the one, and you should let him go and let him finish the job. He doesn't want to do it. He's become like a Palestinian, but they don't like him because he's a very bad Palestinian. He's a weak one.
President Biden, you have a minute.
I've never heard so much foolishness. This is a guy who wants to get out of NATO. Are you going to stay in NATO? He's going to pull out of NATO. The idea that we have, our strength lies in our alliances as well. It may be a big ocean, but were we ever able to avoid a war in Europe, a major war in Europe? What happens if, in fact, you have Putin continue to go into NATO? We have an Article 5 agreement. Attack on one is attack on all. You want to start the nuclear war he keeps talking about, go ahead. Let Putin go in and control Ukraine and then move on to Poland and other places. You see what happens then. He has no idea what the hell he's talking about. And by the way, I got 50 other nations around the world to support Ukraine, including Japan and South Korea, because they understand that this kind of dislocation has a serious threat to the whole world peace. No major war in Europe has ever been able to be contained just to Europe.
President Trump, just to follow up, would you support the creation of an independent Palestinian state in order to achieve peace in the region?
I'd have to see, but before we do that, the problem we have is that we spend all the money. So they kill us on trade. I made great trade deals with the European nations because if you add them up, they're about the same size economically. Their economy is about the same size as the United States. And they were no cars, they don't want anything that we have, but we're supposed to take their cars, their food, their everything, their agriculture. I changed that. But the big thing I changed is they don't want to pay. And the only reason that he can play games with NATO is because I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars. I said, and he's right about this, I said, no, I'm not going to support NATO if you don't pay. They asked me that question, would you guard us against Russia at a very secret meeting of the 28 states at that time, nations at that time. And I said, no, if you don't pay, I won't do that. And you know what happened? Billions and billions of dollars came flowing in the next day and the next months. But now we're in the same position. We're paying everybody's bills.
Let's turn to the issue of democracy. Former President Trump, I want to ask you about January 6, 2021. After you rallied your support.
January 6th, here we go. That last piece, I don't know, it was kind of falling apart for me. I was like zoning out and shit. Let's move on.
Supporters that day. Some of them stormed the Capitol to stop the constitutionally mandated
should get interesting, right?
Counting of electoral votes. As president, you swore an oath to, quote, preserve, protect, and defend, unquote, the Constitution. What do you say to voters who believe that you violated that oath through your actions and inaction on January 6th and worry that you'll do it again?
Well, I don't think too many believe that. And let me tell you about January 6th. On January 6th, we had a great border. Nobody coming through, very few. On January 6th, we were energy independent. On January 6th, we had the lowest taxes ever. We had the lowest regulations ever. On January 6th, we were respected all over the world. All over the world, we were respected. And then he comes in, and we're now laughed at. We're like a bunch of stupid people. What happened to the United States' reputation under this man's leadership is horrible, including weaponization, which I'm sure at some point you'll be talking about, where he goes after his political opponent because he can't beat him fair and square.
You have 80 seconds left.
He danced around it, right?
My question was, what do you say to those voters?
Pull up the interview with Kamala and Anderson Cooper. What was that about? I can't really sit through Kamala. Camel toe.
To believe that you violated your constitutional oath through your actions and inaction on January 6, 2021, and worry that you'll do it again.
Well, I didn't say that to anybody.
Wait, hold on.
I said peacefully and patriotically. And Nancy Pelosi, if you just watched the news from 2 days ago, on tape to
Wasn't Biden supposed to go? The fuck?
Her daughter, who's a documentary filmmaker, they say, but she's saying, oh, no, it's my responsibility. I was responsible for...
Wait. What did Biden just fucking do? The fuck? Does he have an earpiece in?
2 days ago, on tape to her daughter, who's a documentary filmmaker, they say. But she's saying, oh, no, it's my
What? No way. Is he fussing with an earpiece or some shit? Am I tripping right now? Like,
responsibility. Filmmaker, they say. But she's saying, oh, no, it's my responsibility.
What the fuck? Oh, he still had the 80 seconds? Thank you. Look at his face. Oh, boy. This is the future. Wow. Does my man have an earpiece in? Because it even looks like when he messed with his ear, it looked like he stopped listening to Trump and he was listening to someone in his ear.
I was responsible for this? Because I offered her 10,000 soldiers or National Guard, and she turned them down. And the mayor in writing, by the way, the mayor, in writing, turned it down. The mayor of D.C. They turned it down. I offered 10,000 because I could see, I had virtually nothing to do. They asked me to go make a speech. I could see what was happening. Everybody was saying they're going to be there on January 6th. They're going to be there. And I said, you know what? There's a lot of people coming. You could feel it. You could feel it too, and you could feel it. And I said, they ought to have some National Guard or whatever. And I offered it to her, and she now admits that she turned it down. And it was the same day she was, I don't know, she can't be very happy with her daughter because it made her into a liar. She said, I take full responsibility for January 6th.
President Biden?
Look, he encouraged those folks to go up on Capitol Hill, number one. I sat in the dining room off the Oval Office. He sat there for 3 hours watching, begging, being begged by his vice president and a number of his colleagues on the Republican side as well to do something, to call for a stop, to end it. Instead, they talked about these people being patriots and great patrons of America. In fact, he says he'll now forgive them for what they've done. They've been convicted. He says he wants to commute their sentences and say that no. But he went to every single court in the nation. I don't know how many cases, scores of cases, including the Supreme Court, and they said, no, this guy is responsible for doing what was done. He did do a damn thing, and these people should be in jail, and they should be the ones who are being held accountable. And he wants to let them all out, and now he says if he loses again, such a whiner that he is, that it could be a bloodbath.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
What they've done to some people that are so innocent, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. What you have done, how you've destroyed the lives of so many people. When they ripped down Portland, when they ripped down many other cities, you go to Minnesota, Minneapolis, what they've done there with the fires all over the city. If I didn't bring in the National Guard, that city would have been destroyed. When you look at all of they took over big chunks of Seattle. I was all set to bring in the National Guard. They heard that, they saw them coming, and they left immediately. What he said about this whole subject is so off. Peacefully patriotic. One other thing. The Unselect Committee, which is basically two horrible Republicans that are all gone now, out of office, and Democrats, all Democrats, they destroyed and deleted all of the information they found because they found out we were right. We were right. And they deleted and destroyed all of the information. They should go to jail for that. If a Republican did that, they'd go to jail.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden, I want to give you a minute.
The only person on this stage is a convicted felon is the man I'm looking at right now. And the fact of the matter is, what he's telling you is simply not true.
So it took him, so like they got these little aces in the hole, you know? So Biden was waiting for it, and this is where he was going to unload the convicted felon. Oh, my God, dude.
The fact is that there was no effort on his part to stop what was going on up on Capitol Hill. And all those people, every one of those who were convicted, deserves to be convicted. The idea that they didn't kill somebody, just went in and broke down doors, broke the windows, occupied offices, turned over desks, turned them over statues. The idea that those people are patriots? Come on. When I asked him the first two debates we had, first time around, I said, will you denounce the Proud Boys? He said, no, I'll tell them to stand by. The idea he's refusing, will you denounce these guys? Will you denounce the people we're talking about now? Will you denounce the people who attacked that Capitol? What are you going to do?
I'm going to give you a minute, President Trump, for a follow-up question I have. After a jury convicted you of 34 felonies last month, you said if reelected, you would, quote, have every right to go after, unquote, your political opponents. You just talked about members of the Select Committee on January 6th going to jail. Your main political
Didn't let him he can't respond to that.
Opponent is standing on stage with you tonight. Can you clarify exactly what it means about you feeling you have every right to go after your political opponents?
Well, I said my retribution is going to be success. We're going to make this country successful again, because right now it's a failing nation. My retribution is going to be success. But when he talks about a convicted felon, his son is a convicted felon. at a very high level. His son is convicted, going to be convicted probably numerous other times. Should have been convicted
Oh
before.
my God, Trump had it. Yeah, Trump had. He knew it was coming. He knew it was coming. So he's like, okay, all right. Oh my God, dude.
But his Justice Department let the statute of limitations lapse on the most important things. But he could be a convicted felon as soon as he gets out of office. Joe could be a convicted felon with all of the things that he's done. He's done horrible things. All of the death caused at the border, telling the Ukrainian people that we're going to want $1 billion or you change the prosecutor. Otherwise, you're not getting $1 billion. If I ever said that, that's quid pro quo. That we're not going to do anything. We're not going to give you $1 billion unless you change your prosecutor having to do with his son. This man is a criminal. This man, you're lucky. You're lucky. I did nothing wrong. We'd have a system that was rigged and disgusting. I did nothing wrong.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden, you have said, I'm coming right to you, sir.
Yeah, man.
You want to respond? Go ahead. I'll give you a minute to respond.
The idea that I did anything wrong relative to what you're talking about is outrageous.
Why are you giving him? So there is a little bit of bias here. Yeah, because Trump didn't get. He used the time to combine both things. And in this situation, he gets a rebuttal. That's weird.
It's simply a lie, number one. Number two, the idea that you have a right to seek retribution against any American just because you're president is wrong. It's simply wrong. No president's ever spoken like that before. No president in our history has spoken like that before. Number three, the crimes that you are still charged with, and think of all the civil penalties you have. How many billions of dollars do you owe in civil penalties for molesting a woman in public, for doing a whole range of things, of having sex with a porn star on the night while your wife was pregnant?
What the fuck? Yo, where did that come from? Dude, Joe Biden saying that's hilarious. What the fuck? Dude, I gotta hear that again. Oh my God. Wow. Here comes Joe over the top rope. The fuck? Where did that come from? Holy left field. Wow. Joe got one there. Joe got one there. Wow. We're going to Trump levels. Let's hear this again. Bro, what the fuck?
Number one. Number two, the idea that you have a right to seek retribution against any American just because you're president is wrong. It's simply wrong. No president's ever spoken like that before. No president in our history has spoken like that before. Number three, the crimes that you are still charged with, and think of all the civil penalties you have. How many billions of dollars do you owe in civil penalties for molesting a woman in public, for doing a whole range of things, of having sex with a porn star on the night while your wife was pregnant? I mean, what are you talking about? You have a marriage of an alley cat.
Give you a minute, sir.
My God.
I didn't have sex with a porn star, number one. Number two, that was a case that was started and moved. They moved a high-ranking official, a DOJ, into the Manhattan DA's office to start that case. That case is going to be appealed and won. We had a very terrible judge, a horrible judge, Democrat. The prosecutor were all high-ranking Democrats, appointed people, and both the civil and the criminal. He basically went after his political opponent because he thought it was going to damage me. But when the public found out about these cases, because they understand it better than he does, he has no idea what these cases are. But when they found out about these cases, you know what they did? My poll numbers went up, way up. You know that because you're reporting it. And we took in more money in the last 2 weeks than we've ever taken in the history of any campaign. I don't think any campaign has ever taken. Hundreds of millions of dollars came pouring in because the public knows it's a scam and it's a guy that's after his political opponent because he can't win fair and square.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden, you have said, quote, Donald Trump and his MAGA Republicans are determined to destroy American democracy. Do you believe that the tens of millions of Americans who are likely to vote for President Trump will be voting against American democracy?
The more they know about what he's done, yes. the more they know about what he's done. And there's a lot more coming. He's got a lot of cases down the road coming around. He's got a whole range of issues he has to face. I don't know what the juries will do, but I do know he has a real problem. And so the fact that, could you ever think you heard any president say that I'm going to seek retribution? Do you ever hear any presidents say that I thought Hitler had some good ideas? What got me involved to run in the first place after my son had died, I decided in Iraq, because of Iraq, I said I wasn't going to run again until I saw what happened in Charlottesville, Virginia. People coming out of the woods carrying swastikas on torches, and singing the same anti-Semitic bile they sang when back in Germany. And the young woman got killed. I spoke to the mother, and they asked him, they said, what do you think of those people? The ones who got killed, the one who tried to stop it, and the ones, he said, I think they're fine people on both sides. What American president would ever say Nazis coming out of fields carrying torches, singing the same anti-Semitic bile, carrying swastikas were fine people? And this is a guy who says Hitler's done some good things. I'd like to know what they are. The good things Hitler's done, that's what he said. This guy...
I don't think there's anything wrong with what he's saying here. I think it's hilarious. I don't know. Like the way Biden is talking about this, I mean, I don't know. I just think it's kind of funny. Like, this is Trump, man. Like, this is something Trump would fucking say. Like, he's a wacko. But this is not the political issues here. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not, like, these aren't the things we need to be talking about. So what? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he likes the Nazis. Who knows? He's got a fetish for Nazis. I don't know.
Has no sense of American democracy.
President Trump.
Jake, both of you know that story has been totally wiped out, because when you see the sentence, it said 100% exoneration on that. So he just keeps it going. He says he ran because of Charlottesville.
He's lost. He's look at Biden's face. Look at these two. Oh, man. That should be the thumbnail right there. That's fantastic. Look at these two.
Because of Charlottesville. He ran because it was his last chance. He's not equipped to be president.
I tell you, I need to get high and watch more. You guys want to keep on watching debates and getting high? It's so funny, man. This is great. They're fucking like, this is the greatest shit to watch while under the influence. Who's drinking and who's high in the chat? And I'm not like saying, hey, go get fucked up. But oh my God, dude, this is so funny, man. This is great. This is great. I don't even like political shit. This is hilarious.
You know it, and I know it. It's ridiculous. We have a debate. We're trying to justify his presidency. His presidency is, without question, the worst presidency in the history of our country. We shouldn't be having a debate about it. There's nothing to debate. He made up the Charlottesville story, and you'll see it's debunked all over the place. Every reasonable anchor has debunked it. And just the other day, it came out where it was fully debunked. It's a nonsense story. He knows that, and he didn't run because of Charlottesville. He used that as an excuse to run.
President Biden.
And debunked. It happened. All you have to do is listen to what was said at the time. And the idea that somehow that's the only reason I ran. I ran because I was worried a guy like this guy could get elected. If he thought they were good people coming out of that forest, carrying those woods, carrying those torches, then he didn't deserve to be president. Didn't deserve to be president at all.
That story is so funny.
The idea that he's talking about all this being fabricated. We saw with our own eyes. We saw what happened on
January. I hope Biden keeps on talking about the Woods story. That's a fantastic story.
We saw the people breaking through the windows. We saw people occupying his own vice president. Look, there's a reason why 40 of his 44 top cabinet officers refused to endorse him this time. His vice president hasn't endorsed him this time. So why? Why? They know him well. They serve with him. Why are they not endorsing him?
Thank you, President Biden. We're going to be right back with more from the CNN presidential debate.
Conveniently, go to a little break when Biden gets the mic drop over there. So far, what do you think? I don't know how much more of this shit is going on. I know they did a bunch of post-show. That seemed like a very, one-sided, hey, let's go to break. Okay, let's get right back into it. Sniff, sniff. No Joe bot. 5,000. Stop, sniff, sniff, everyone. Wow. This was the CNN settlement case that was wrong, right? Wait, this was the CNN settlement case that was wrong? What are we talking about? This is just the first break. There are 3? Oh, my God. I don't know if we can get through this whole thing. Let's see how much further they go. Oh, okay. Not much further. Okay. All right. Yeah. So let's see. We're here. 257. All right. Yeah, we can get through this. Okay. It's not that bad.
Face again in a second term. President Biden, while black unemployment dropped to a record low under your presidency, black families still earn far less than white families.
Wonderful.
Oh, this is a hot topic here.
I just seen on World News Biden's 5 biggest fails of the first presidential debate.
It's all right. So they're already ripping them apart. I kind of want to, after this, we're going to do the 303 press conference. But I kind of want to hear what these guys are saying now. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'll skip the 303 press conference and just listen to like what people are saying about this. People's response to this, because this is a hot mess. This is very ugly. Okay, here we go.
President Biden, while black unemployment dropped to a record low under your presidency, black families still earn far less than white families. Black mothers are still 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes, and black Americans are imprisoned at 5 times the rate of white Americans.
Okay.
What do you say to black voters who are disappointed that you haven't made more progress?
They acknowledge they made a lot of progress, number one. The fact of the matter is there's more small black businesses that have been started than any time in history. Number 2, the wages of black unemployment is the lowest level it's been in a long, long time. Number 3, we're providing housing for black Americans and dealing with the segregation that exists among these corporations that collude to keep people out of their houses. And in addition to that, we find that the impact on the choice that black families have to make relative to child care is incredibly difficult. When we did the first major piece of legislation in the past, I was able to reduce black child care costs. I cut them in half. We got to make sure we provide for child care costs. We got to make sure, because when you provide those child care protections, you increase economic growth because more people can be in the job market. So
what is the child care protection? What are we doing here?
There's more to be done, considerably more to be done. But we've done a great deal so far, and I'm not letting up, and they know it.
You have 49 seconds left.
What is that, a little break?
What do you say to black voters who are disappointed with the progress so far?
I say I don't blame them for being disappointed. Inflation is still hurting them badly. For example, I provided for the idea that any black family, first-time home buyer, should get a $10,000 tax credit.
Why? That doesn't make any sense. So if you're black, you get a $10,000 credit on your first home? Why? What the fuck's the reason for? What's the... what? I guess if your income is at a certain level. Uh-oh. Found a scorpion alive in our bedroom. Uh-oh. That's not good. 30-27, all 5 rounds. Why? I don't understand what the hell the reasoning for that. How big? Was it a big guy or a small guy? Oh, my God. Black man can't buy a house.
Wonderful.
You are missing nothing from the presser. Highlight possibly Gary versus MVP, but just use Twitter. This is more amusing and Joe lying so bad. Get a fact checker.
Yeah. I would love to hear. I mean, it's... man. It does seem like a lot of nonsense. He just wants to cuddle. The scorpion just wants to cuddle. It's a big sucker. Take a picture. The bigger the better, though. The small ones, like we were saying before, they let out more sting. They don't let the stinger out. They don't know how to sting people, but apparently the bigger ones, not as bad. No press are needed. Thank you, Sonosi. Hey, thank you guys for the donations. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll just play some highlights of the press conference. I knew it was going to suck. That's why I didn't even think about streaming it before. But if it's that bad, yeah, fuck it. I'm more interested in finding out, like, you know, the fact checking that's going on here. I want to hear a very liberal point of view on how this thing went down. Curious. I don't want to, you know, we know what the right's going to say. That's pretty obvious. I want to hear what the left says. Sonosi been a member for 11 months. Keep to this. Serious. Don't need it. Okay. No complaints from me.
They can get started. I made sure that we're in a situation where all those black families and those black individuals who had to take out student loans that were ballooning, that if they were engaged in nursing, doctor, and anything having to do with volunteerism, if they paid their bills for 10 years on their student debt, all the rest is forgiven after 10 years. Millions have benefited from that. And we're going to do a whole lot more for black families.
Thank you, President Trump.
And he caused the inflation. He's blaming inflation, and he's right, it's been very bad. He caused the inflation, and it's killing black families and Hispanic families and just about everybody. It's killing people. They can't buy groceries anymore. They can't. You look at the cost of food where it's doubled.
Yo, groceries are stupid expensive. Like, ridiculous. We've been looking at our credit card bills ever since, you know, this inflation been kicking things up. Between gas and groceries, dude, this is like, it's scary times we're living in, man. Some really scary times. I've never, ever, I can't buy tortillas anymore. Yeah, we gotta, we reuse those disposable plates and forks and knives. We wash them. Even the thin ones, they get all wet and soggy, but we hang them outside in the Arizona heat. The sun dries them off, and then we eat off of those disposable plates again. Times are rough, man.
And tripled and quadrupled. They can't live. They're not living anymore. He caused this inflation.
You know, remember back in the day, you make $100K, and you make $100K a year, you're fucking pimping. Like, I remember when I was a kid, you making those 6 digits, you're living good. You're living good. Now that's like fucking, that's nothing these days. It's nuts, man. It gets you nothing. Gets you absolutely nothing. 100K, yeah. It's like if you don't make 100K, you're fucking broke. It's nuts, man. This inflation shit's out of control. Like it's completely out of control.
Gave him a country with essentially no inflation. It was perfect. It was so good. All he had to do is leave it alone. He destroyed it with his Green New scam and all this money that's being thrown out the window. He caused inflation. As sure as you're sitting there, the fact is that his big kill on the black people is the millions of people that he's allowed to come in through the border. They're taking black jobs now, and it could be 18, it could be 19, and even 20 million people. They're taking black jobs, and they're taking Hispanic jobs, and you haven't seen it yet, but you're going to see something that's going to be the worst in our history.
Thank you. President Biden.
Damn.
There was no inflation when I became president. You know why? The economy was flat on its back. 15% unemployment. He decimated the economy, absolutely decimated the economy. That's why there was no inflation at the time. There were no jobs. We provided thousands of millions of jobs for individuals who are in all communities, including minority communities. We made sure that they have health insurance. We have covered, the ACA has increased. I made sure that they're $8,000 per person in a family to get written off for health care. But this guy wants to eliminate that. They tried 50 times. He wants to get rid of the ACA again. And they're going to try again if they win. You find ourselves in a position where the idea that we're not doing any, we put more police on the street than any administration has. He wants to cut the cops. We're providing for equity and making sure people have a shot to make it. There's a lot going on, but in inflation, he caused it by his tremendous malfeasance in the way he handled the pandemic.
Thank you. Another persistent challenge is the climate crisis. 2023 was the hottest year in recorded history.
He did say it's how he handled the pandemic is what put them in this situation. I mean, I don't fucking. That's the whole thing with this whole inflation thing. COVID was the problem. And then we have to go back and think, well, did we handle that correctly? It seems like the answer is no. Who's telling the truth? Who's not telling the truth? The inflation goes up. Man, it just feels like lies on top of lies on top of lies, and it's just snowballing, and they don't even know it's true anymore. It's fucking crazy, man. It's sad.
And communities across the country are confronting the devastating effects of extreme heat, intensifying wildfires, stronger
I tell you, that scares the shit out of me. The wildfire things, man. That is no bueno.
Hurricanes and rising sea levels. Former President Trump, you've vowed to end your opponent's climate initiatives, but will you take any action as president?
Trump's hair is very flat tonight, super flat.
To slow the climate crisis.
Well, let me just go back to what he said about the police, how close the police are to him. Almost every police group in the nation from every state is supporting Donald J. Trump. Almost every police group. And what he's done to the black population is horrible, including the fact that for 10 years he called them super predators. We can't, in the 1990s, we can't forget that. Super predators was his name, and he called it to them for 10, and they've taken great offense at it, and now they see it happening. But when they see what I did for criminal justice reform and for the...
Is that true? Can anyone get that soundbite of Joe Biden calling black people super predators? Oh my God. That's just, oh God, that's so fucking funny, man. Watch out for those super predators. Does anyone know? Is that true? I mean, if he doesn't say it, if he says it wasn't true, super predators.
The historically black colleges and universities where I funded them and got them all funded, and the opportunity zones.
Dude, super predators is the funniest term ever. Super predators. Fucking super. Is that why Francis Ngannou is called the Predator? Right? Isn't that his nickname? Because he's a super predator. Oh, God, help me.
With Tim, as you know, Tim Scott was incredible. He did a great job. Great senator from South Carolina. He came to me with the idea, and it was a great idea. It's one of the most successful.
I think Biden was in the forest with Trump when Trump was getting all racist. I think Biden came out, too. He was there as well. That's how he knows all this forest shit.
Economic development acts ever in the country, opportunity zones. And the biggest beneficiary are blacks. And that's why we have the best numbers with them in maybe ever. They're saying ever. I read this morning where ever, the best numbers. He's lost much of the black population.
That's actually true. That is true.
Because he's done a horrible job for black people.
I mean, I don't know. I look at the stats. Like when they pop up the stats here and there, there's a lot of stats saying that Biden's lost a ton of people that were supporting him before. Especially the super predators.
Also done a horrible job.
We got any super predators in the chat? Oh my God, man. Who the fuck says that? Dude, it's so fucking funny, man.
For Hispanics. But wait till you see these.
Remember when that super predator was the president, Joe Biden? You remember that?
Millions of people pouring into our country, and they're going to take the jobs, and it's already started, and you haven't seen anything yet. It's a disaster.
You've 38 seconds left. President Trump, will you take any action as president to slow the climate crisis?
So I want absolutely immaculate clean water, and I want absolutely clean air.
Me too.
And we had it. We had H2O. We had the best numbers ever, and we were using all forms of energy.
He does everything Trump says is the best ever. It's not just, hey, it was slightly better than this time. Everything that Trump does, and this is the funniest thing about Donald Trump, everything he does is the best ever. He'll go to a steakhouse. If it's his steakhouse, it's the best steak you'll ever eat. It's the best air you'll ever breathe. Dude, everything's the best ever. Best president ever. Best this ever. Best. He's that guy. Best ever.
All forms, everything. And yet, during my 4 years...
Like, maybe if you toned it down a little bit to make it more realistic, like, hey, it was the best out of this amount, you know? Like, or it was, in this era, it was the best. But he just says best of all time. Everything's goated. Everything that Trump does is goated. It's so funny, man.
Had the best environmental numbers ever. And my top environmental people gave me that statistic just before I walked on the stage, actually.
Yeah, it's very promoter. Yeah. And that's where that's a flaw. I mean, I understand people gobble that shit up. People hear best ever and they're like, hey, it's like you go to the grocery store and it tells you that this is the best piece of meat you can get because it has big bold words that cage free or whatever the fuck it says. Best ever. People just like, oh, it's got to be the best. So when Trump says stuff like that, people just like, yeah, he's right. He is the best ever of everything. I think if he just toned that down a little bit, he'd be destroying them even more.
I don't know where the hell he's been. The idea that anything he said is true. I've passed the most extensive climate change legislation in history. We find
if he's not saying things that are true, why wouldn't he rebut with saying, well, this is not the best ever? You're saying this is the best ever. I mean, why isn't he just, he's got an earpiece in. Can someone fact check him? Instead of dancing around, the response is so scattered.
Wonderful.
Sunosi.
I left you on Discord Joe Biden racist sayings in the past. Gonna go to bed, but
wow.
Feel free to play afterwards. In general chat.
Joe Biden saying racist things? That's funny, man. All right, we'll listen to that after this. Oh, my God. Okay, that should be funny. Thank you, Sunosi. Good night. Sweet dreams. Someone tuck Sunosi in immediately. Excuse me.
Ourselves, and by the way, black colleges. I came up with $50 billion for HBCUs, historic black universities and colleges, because they don't have the kind of contributors that they have to build these laboratories and the like. Any black student is capable in college of doing any white student can do. They just don't have the money. But now they'll be able to get those jobs in high tech. We're in a situation where the idea that he is claiming to have done something that had the cleanest water.
Here we go.
He hadn't done a damn thing in the environment. He pulled out of the Paris Peace Accord, Climate Accord. I immediately joined it because if we reach 1.5 degrees Celsius at any one point, there's no way back. The only existential threat to humanity is climate change, and he didn't do a damn thing about it. He wants to undo all that I've done.
The Paris Accord was going to cost us $1 trillion, and China nothing, and Russia nothing, and India nothing. It was a ripoff of the United States. And I ended it because I didn't want to waste that money because they treat us horribly. We were the only ones who was costing us money. Nobody else was paying into it. And it was a disaster. But everything that he said just now, I'll give you an example. I heard him say before insulin. I'm the one that got the insulin down for the seniors. I took care of the seniors. What he's doing is destroying all of our medical programs because
I didn't hear him. Did he say something about insulin? This is the first I heard of this. He's talking about tonight? Did anyone hear that?
Migrants coming in, they want everybody. And look, I have the biggest heart on the stage. I guarantee you that. And I want to take care of people. But we're destroying our country. They're taking over our schools, our hospitals, and they're going to be taking over Social Security. He is destroying Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid.
Scary stuff. He said it earlier.
The idea is that we, in fact, we were the only ones of consequence who were not members of the Paris Accord. How can we do anything if we're not able to, the United States can't get its pollution under control? One of the largest polluters in the world, number one. We're making significant progress. By 2035, we will have cut pollution in half. We have made
Did you just nonchalantly start picking his nose?
Making progress, and we're continuing to make progress. We set up a climate corps for thousands of young people to learn how to deal with climate, just like the Peace Corps. And we're moving in directions that are going to significantly change the elements of cause of pollution. But the idea that he claims that he has the biggest heart up here and he's really concerned about pollution and about climate, I've not seen any indication of that. And by the way, with regard to prescription drugs, one company agreed that they would reduce the price to $35, which I was calling for, one, voluntarily. I made sure every company in the world, every pharmaceutical company, cannot have to pay.
Thank you.
And by the way,
So every day, millions of Americans struggle just to make ends meet. For many older Americans, Social Security provides a critical lifeline. President Biden, if nothing is done to Social Security, seniors will see their benefits cut in just over 10 years. Will you name tonight one specific step that you're willing to take to keep Social Security solvent?
Yes, make the very wealthy begin to pay their fair share. Right now, everybody making under $170,000.
There you go. Tax the shit out of the rich.
$1,000 pays 6% of
You
their
rich
income.
bastards out there, tax away, baby. I'm never going to see that kind of money, so tax them away.
Of their paycheck every single time they get a paycheck from the time of the first one they get. When
And then give it to the migrants. Tax them and give the money to the illegals. Let's go.
18 years old.
Right?
The idea that they're going to, I've been proposing that.
I say you tax the Americans and give it to the illegals. Right? Are you with me? Give it to the people swimming across the ocean and over walls and shit. Jumping over walls, not swimming over walls.
They pay.
That'd be kind of cool if they were.
Millionaires pay 1%. 1%. So no one I would not raise the cost of Social Security for anybody under $400,000. After that, I began to make the wealthy begin to pay their fair share by increasing from 1% beyond to be able to guarantee the program for life.
So you still have 82 seconds left. Are there any other measures that you think that would be able to help
You didn't
keep
use your
Social
whole time?
Security solvent, or is that one enough?
Well, no, that one enough will keep it solvent. But the biggest thing I'll do if we defeat this man, because he wants to get rid of Social Security. He thinks there's plenty to cut in Social Security. He's wanting to cut Social Security and Medicare both times. And that's what. And if you look at the program put forward by the House Republican caucus that he, I believe, supports, is in fact want to cut it as well. The idea that we don't need to protect our seniors is ridiculous. And by the way, the American public has greater health care coverage today than ever before. And on the ACA, as I said, you're in a circumstance where 400,000 people, 40 million people would not have insurance because they have a pre-existing condition. Only allowed.
I'll tell you, at one stage in my life, I was on that Obamacare in New York, and I was paying like $15 a month for like medical, and it was phenomenal. It paid to be broke, man. It paid to be broke. I'm telling you, man, that medical was fire. Now we're paying through the freaking roof for medical, and it's terrible. Bills on top of bills. If you need to see a specialist, you're in trouble. If you need glasses, forget it. Dental, Jesse just paid an arm and a leg for a root canal. But if we were in New York on that Obamacare, oh my God, that shit was fire. Best medical I've ever had in my life. Medical's the worst now. A $5K check to everyone would help. Yeah, send us, just keep printing money. Well, if they keep doing that, we're in trouble. The value of the dollar. You know, they could print it out, yeah. But then, you know, the value of it's going to be worth nothing. They just keep on pumping paper out. Anyway, I don't know. I'm high as a fucking kite right now.
Allows them to have that insurance is the fact that they, in fact, are part of the ACA. And by the way, the other thing is we're in a situation where we talk about education.
I haven't been to an eye doctor in years, and I had LASIK. Man, I want to say not that long ago. It was probably like 15 years ago. I had LASIK. Many, many years ago, I had that LASIK shit done, and I'm just wearing blue light glasses now. But I think it's deteriorated, and I should probably, like at night, my night vision is not the best. I need to go to an eye doctor. I can't afford it. I can't fucking go to an eye doctor because my plan doesn't have that. And I still pay a fortune. Medical's nuts, man. That's like the Achilles heel right now. Medical is stupid expensive. Right now, if you make over $60K a year, they consider you rich and want all your money. Yeah, it's nuts. And then when you're running your own business and you got to fucking, pay the tax man, and it gets complicated. It sucks so bad. I think this version of Trump threw Joe and everyone off. They wanted him to start flipping out and hopefully break the gag. Yeah, Trump didn't have to go crazy at all. And he couldn't cut him off because they had that mute thing, but he didn't have to. Biden just kept burying himself. I need a stimulus check now. I tell you, man. Yo, and they were pumping out during COVID. That was great, right? Donations were through the roof, man.
Black communities, I've raised the amount of money for Pell Grants by another $8,000. So anybody making under $70,000 a year is going to be able to get $15,000 toward their tuition. He just doesn't know what he's talking about.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump.
So I've dealt with politicians all my life. I've been on this side of the equation for the last 8 years. I've never seen anybody lie like this guy. He lies. I've never seen it. He could look you in the face.
I should have saved up.
So many other things.
You know what,
too.
though? No matter how much you save, life happens. You know? There was a time where I was able to save a lot of money, you know. And life happens. Life happens, and, you know, it can't be, you know, you can't expect what's going to happen. You just got to have to figure it out. It's all right. We'll figure it out.
And we mentioned the laptop. We mentioned Russia, Ukraine. Everything he does is a lie. It's misinformation and disinformation. The losers and suckers story that he made up is a total...
You're a single dad? Damn, man. How many kids? Dude, single dad, that's crazy, man. So were you, like, raising these kids through toddler? And, like, I could understand single dad, like, when your kid's in their teens. You know, you can figure it out. But when they're super young man, that's where I feel for a single parent. That's rough. I got a little property. Thank God bless my grandparents. We pray. Oh, shit. Your grandparents left you some prop? Yo, that's what I hope I can do for my kids. I want to leave them a business and property. That's a property especially. That's the greatest gift you can give to the next generation. That's the way. Hell yeah, man. Damn, look at that. We got it's so funny, man. Like, I got friends that are staying into marriages because their in-laws are just, like, loaded. I know that's why they're staying. There's no other reason. Not for the kids. The kids are going to eventually grow up and move out. They're staying for that property, that sweet property inheritance. Yeah. Well, can you put bodies in that property? Rent that shit out? My ex is a junkie. She lost all the kids. I tell you, if the woman loses the kids, then yeah, she's pretty fucked up. Because usually in court, they're gonna get those kids. So I got a good friend of mine, one of the tattoo artist friends. Yeah, he's got custody of his son, and his ex is a fucking loony. That's crazy, man. Good on you. So what was the junkie? She lost all the kids to DSS. Then I had to fight 3 years for custody. Fucking hell, man. Wow. Damn. And how old are these kids? 3 years. Oh, that's fucking crazy, man. That's crazy. That's super sad. I tell you, man. Yo, having kids, you gotta... Man, it's so tough to pick the right person to reproduce with. It's like one of the hardest things ever. Because sometimes everything's great, even up to the kids. And then after the kids, like, everything goes berserk, you know? Man, I could name so many people that are just so fucked up in their relationship. And it's fucked up for the kids, too. You know, the kids got to go through that nonsense. They got to be around the constant arguing and bickering, and it's so difficult. They flip sides on you. Who, the kids, you're saying flip sides on you? Or are you saying the ex? Oh, I'm getting bits and pieces here. In Illinois. Oh, okay. Oh, he's 9 years old. I'm getting pieces of your shit here. We'll get back to this in a sec. You think Biden beats... You know what's funny? I think Biden was the athlete, though, right? Like, Trump wasn't the athlete. He was the money man. Whereas Biden, back in the day, I think he was an actual, like, legit athlete. But now look at him. He's the shell of that. If you don't pay freedom tax, they kick your ass and throw you in prison. Okay, let's get back to this.
Lie on the military. It's a disgrace. But Social Security, he's destroying it because millions of people are pouring into our country, and they're putting them onto Social Security. They're putting them onto Medicare, Medicaid. They're putting them in our hospitals. They're taking the place of our citizens. What they're doing to the VA, to our veterans, is unbelievable. Our veterans are living in the street, and these people are living in luxury hotels. He doesn't know what he's doing, and it's really coming back. I've never seen such anger in our country before.
President Biden?
The idea that veterans are not being taken care of, I told you before. And by the way, when I said suckers and losers, he acknowledged after that he fired that general. That general got fired because he's the one that acknowledged that that's what he said. He was the one standing with Trump when he said
Yep.
it. Number one. Number two,
He's like,
the
yeah.
idea that we're going to be in a situation where all these millions and millions, the way he talks about it, illegal aliens are coming into the country and taking away our jobs. There's a reason why we have the fastest growing economy in the world, the reason why we have the most successful economy in the world. We're doing better than any other nation in the world. And by the way, those 15 Nobel laureates he talked about being phony, those 15 Nobel laureates, economists, they all said that if Trump is reelected, we're likely to have a recession. And inflation is going to increasingly go up. And by the way, worst president in history, 159 presidential scholars voted him the worst president in the history of the United States of America.
President Biden, thank you so much. Let's turn to the cost of child care, which many American families struggle to afford.
I want to see these
President
scholars.
Trump, both you and President Biden have tried to address this issue, but the average cost of child care in this country has risen to more than $11,000 a year per child. For many families, the cost of child care for 2 children is more than their rent. In your second term, what would you do to
We
make
need to figure this out. What are they going to do about this? Because having kids is fucking expensive.
child care more affordable?
Just to go back, the general got fired because he was no good. And if he said that, that's why he made it up. But we have 19 people that said I didn't say it, and they're very highly respected, much more so than him. The other thing is, he doesn't fire people. He never fired people. I've never seen him fire anybody. I did fire a lot. I fired Comey because he was no good. I fired a lot of the top people at the FBI, drained the swamp. They were no good. Not easy to fire people. You'd pay a price for it, but they were no good. I inherited these people. I didn't put them there. I didn't put Comey there. He was no good. I fired him. This guy hasn't fired anybody. He never fires. He should have fired every military man that was involved with that the Afghanistan horror show, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. He didn't fire. Did you fire anybody? Did you fire anybody that's on the border that's allowed us to have the worst border in the history of the world? Did anybody get fired for allowing 18 million people, many from prisons, many from mental institutions? Did you fire anybody that allowed our country to be destroyed? Joe, our country is being destroyed as you and I sit up here and waste a lot of time on this debate. This shouldn't be a debate. He is the worst president. He just said about me because I said it. But look, he's the worst president in the history of our country. He's destroyed our country. Now all of a sudden he's trying to get a little tough on the border. He came out with a nothing deal, and it reduced it a little bit, like this much. It's insignificant. He wants open borders. He wants our country to either be destroyed or he wants to pick up those people as voters.
What was the question? Because he's just roasting the shit out of Biden, but is he responding to what they asked him? I don't even remember what the hell the question was.
And I don't think we just can't let it happen. If he wins this election, our country doesn't have a chance, not even a chance, of coming out of this rut.
What was the question, though? Is he answering the question? Like, he's roasting Biden, yes. Is he, like, deflecting? Because he navigated me into this place. I don't remember what the hell the question was. I don't feel like he's answering it, though.
Probably won't have a country left anymore. That's how bad it is. He is the worst in history by far.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden?
We are the most admired country in the world. We're the United States of America. There's nothing beyond our capacity. We have the finest military in the history of the world, the finest in the history of the world. No one thinks we're weak. No one wants to screw around with us. Nobody, number one. Number two, the idea that we're talking about...
I really shouldn't have laughed at that. But I just can't take it serious. This guy fucking saying that. Maybe if it was someone more powerful, I would take it more serious. But with him saying it, it's just laughable. And I'm here.
First presidents. I wasn't joking. Look it up or go online. 159 or 58, don't hold me the exact number, presidential historians, they've had meetings and they voted who's the worst president.
He's repeating himself now. He's not like, he's literally repeating himself. Because these people said it, that means he is the worst president of all time.
In American history, one through best to worst. They said he was the worst in all of American history. That's a fact. That's not conjecture. He can argue they're wrong, but that's what they voted. The idea that he is doing anything to deal with child care, he did virtually nothing to child care. We should significantly increase the child care tax credit. We should significantly increase the availability of women and men or single parents to be able to go back to work. And we should encourage businesses to have.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump, the question was about what would you do to make child care more affordable if you wanted to.
Yeah, that was the question. What the fuck? Like, he completely.
Take your minute.
Just so you understand.
Thankfully, he.
We have polling. We have other things that they rate him the worst because what he's done.
He's not answering again. He's talking. You're the worst. No, you're the worst. You're the worst. Nah, you're the worst, bro. No, you're the worst. Hey, what about childcare being affordable? Nah, this guy's the worst.
So bad. And they rate me, I'll show you, I will show you. And they rate me one of the best, okay? And if I'm given another 4 years.
Well, at least he's saying one of the best this time, and he's not saying the best of all time, the greatest of all time. He's not saying that anymore here. At least, he's saying one of the best, which I could stomach that more than everything's the greatest,
Will be the best. I think I'll be the best. Nobody's ever.
I know, right? Young studs or hot, sexy women. Like, what are, they should get some young porn star or some shit like that. Big knockers as the president, Hi, boys. Let's talk about that Rona-virus, that new variant that's here. Even if you disagree with her, the simps would still be into her, when are we going to have this simp movement? There's so many simps out there. When are we going to have that fucking smoke? Like, if the Democrats were smart, they would get the hottest fucking broad they can find. The hottest girl they could find. Put her up there. Fucking simps will go crazy. And it's, it feeds into that, woke agenda, right? Let's get the smoking hot. You'll have simps on the Republican side of things. All the conservatives will be like, fuck this, she's hot. Well, I don't care what she believes. I want to see more of this. But what did they do? They had Hillary Clinton. That's the hottest you're gonna get. That shoe face. That's what you got to do. Listen, guys, bring me aboard. I'll fix everything. Get rid of this fucking Sleepy Joe. Get the hottest broad you could put out there. You'll win by a landslide. Trump will be fucking groping her ass. He won't be able to control himself. Trump out there. He'll fuck her in front of his wife.
Created an economy like us. Nobody ever cut taxes like us. He's the only one I know. He wants to raise your taxes by 4 times. He wants to raise.
Hey, Johnny, man, if you got to, you got to admit, a smoking hot chick is way better than what we're looking at right here. I mean, this is a fucking complete dumpster fire on the right. It's crazy. Prove me wrong.
4 times. He wants the Trump tax cuts to expire, so everybody, including the 2 of you, are going to pay 4 to 5 times. Nobody ever heard of this before. All my life, I'd grow up and I'd see politicians talking about cutting taxes. When we cut taxes, as I said, we did more business. Apple and all these companies, they were bringing money back into our country. The worst president in history by far, and everybody knows it.
Okay.
President Biden?
Look, the fact of the matter is.
Where's the kid conversation? Where's the fucking kid? We want to know how make it affordable for kids. We're not answering that question. We're playing fucking tennis and watching the ball bounce back and forth with these guys saying this one's the worst, that one's the worst.
He's dead wrong about. He's increased the tariff. He will increase the taxes on middle class people. I said I'd never raise a tax on anybody making less than $400,000. I didn't. But this tariff is 10% tariffs. Everything coming in the country. You know what the economists say? That's going to cost the average American $2,500 a year more because they're going to have to pay the difference in food and all the things that are very important. Number 2, he's in a situation where he talks about how he has not raised, he's somehow helped the middle class. Middle class have been devastated by you. Now you want a new tax cut of $5 trillion over the next 10 years, which is going to fundamentally bankrupt the country. You had the largest deficit of any president in American history, number one. Number two, you have not, in fact, made any contact, any progress with China. We are the lowest trade deficit with China since 2010.
Thank you, President Biden.
You lost.
Thank you, President Biden. Let's discuss an epidemic impacting millions of Americans that both of you have made a top priority in your first term, the opioid crisis. And for both of you, the number of overdose.
So he never answered the child thing. Why can't they say, "Hey, this is your third chance to answer the question. You want to answer it or no?" We never got the answer from Trump, so he clearly did not want to answer that.
In this country has gone up. Under your term, it went up. Under your term, it has gone up. Former President Trump, despite the efforts that both of you have made, more than 100,000 Americans are dying from overdoses every year, primarily from fentanyl and other opioids. What will you do to help Americans right now in the throes of addiction who are struggling?
I tell you, I'm interested in this topic. This is interesting, especially over here, man. Everyone's all on drugs. I'm on drugs right now. Stop this. But it is scary with my kids, man. I worry about that a lot. Drugs creeps me out.
Get the treatment they need.
To finish up, we now have the largest deficit in the history of our country under this guy. We have the largest deficit with China. He gets paid by China. He's a Manchurian candidate.
Wait, we're talking junkies now. What are we talking about? Wait, the fuck? Dude, he's not answering questions anymore. He's not answering. He's just not answering the question. He's just completely abandoned ship. He's like, yeah, let's get back to the China shit.
Money from China. So I think he's afraid to deal with them or something. But do you notice he never took out my tariffs because we bring in so much money with the tariffs that I imposed on China. He never took them away. He can't because it's too much money. It's tremendous. And we saved our steel industries, and there was more to come, but he hasn't done that. But he hasn't cut the tariffs because he can't, because it's too much money. But he's got the largest deficit in the history of our country, and he's got the worst situation with China. China's going to own us if you keep allowing them to do what they're doing to us as a country. They are killing us as a country, Joe, and you can't let that happen. You're destroying our country.
So he really looks like he's just going to turn to him and be like, "You want to play a game?" He's very jigsaw.
President Trump, you have 67 seconds left. The question was, what are you going to do to help Americans in the throes of addiction right now?
They're not answering the question.
Now, who are struggling
to
get the treatment they need.
Jake, we were doing very well at addiction until the COVID came along.
Here we go.
Had the 2.5, almost 3 years of like nobody's ever had before, any country, in every way. And then we had to get tough. And it was the drugs pouring across the border it started to increase. We got great equipment. We bought the certain dog that's the most incredible thing that you've ever seen, the way they can spot it. We did a lot, and we had very low numbers.
I'm sorry.
Very, very low.
We brought in the dog. It's the most incredible drug-sniffing dog you can find out there. The best. Even our drug-sniffing dog is the greatest drug-sniffing dog of all time. The best. Everything's the fucking best. I love it, man. So funny.
Numbers. Then he came along. The numbers, have you seen the numbers now?
He fucking got rid of the greatest drug-sniffing dog of all time. He brought in, like, the shittiest drug-sniffing dog of all time. This guy's a fucking disaster.
It's not only the 18 million people that I believe is even low, because the gotaways, they don't even talk about gotaways. But the numbers of the amount of drugs and human trafficking in women coming across our border, the worst thing I've ever seen. At numbers that nobody's ever seen under him because the border's so bad. But the number of drugs coming across our border now is the largest we've ever had by far.
President Trump, thank you. President Biden?
Fentanyl and the byproducts of fentanyl went down for a while. And I wanted to make sure we use the machinery that can detect fentanyl.
For a while.
These big machines that roll over everything that comes across the border. And it costs a lot of money. That was part of this deal we put together, this bipartisan deal. More fentanyl machines, more being able to detect drugs, more numbers of agents, more numbers of all the people at the border. And when we had that deal done, he called his Republican colleagues, said, "Don't do it. It's going to hurt me politically." No, he never argued it's not a good bill. It's a really good bill. We need those machines. We need those machines. And we're coming down very hard in every country in Asia in terms of precursors for fentanyl. And Mexico is working with us to make sure they don't have the technology to be able to put it together. That's what we have to do. We need those machines.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump, and again, the question is about Americans in the throes of addiction right now, struggling to get the treatment they need.
Well, because this does pertain to it. He ended Remain in Mexico. He ended catch and release. I made it catch and release in Mexico, not catch and release here. We had so many things that we had done, hard negotiations with Mexico, and I got it all for nothing. It's just like when you have a hostage. We always pay $6 billion for a hostage. Every time we say there's a hostage. Now we have a hostage, a Wall Street Journal reporter, I think a good guy, and he's over there because Putin is laughing at this guy, probably asking for billions of dollars for the reporter. I will have him out very quickly as soon as I take office. Before I take office, I said by literally as soon as I win the election, I will have that reporter out. He should have had him out a long time ago, but Putin's probably asking for billions and billions of dollars because this guy pays it every time. We had 2 cases where we paid $6 billion for 5 people. I got 58 people out, and I paid essentially nothing.
Thank you, President Trump. Dana?
Let's turn to concerns that voters have about each of you. President Biden, you would be 86 at the end of your 2nd term. How do you address concerns about your capability to handle the toughest job in the world well into your 80s?
86, my God.
First of all, I spent half my career being criticized being the youngest person in politics. I was the 2nd youngest person ever elected to the United States Senate, and now I'm the oldest. This guy's 3 years younger and a lot less competent. I think that just look at the record. Look at what I've done. Look how I've turned around the horrible situation he left me. As I said, 15 million new jobs, 800,000 manufacturing jobs, more investment in America, over billions of dollars in private investment in enterprises that we are growing. By the way, we brought an awful lot of people. Well, the whole idea of computer chips. We used to have 40% of the market. We invented those chips, and we lost it because he was sending people to find the cheapest jobs overseas and to bring home a product. So I went to South Korea. I convinced Samsung to invest billions of dollars here in the United States. And guess what? Those fabs they call
Someone give 2 joints of membership, for God's sakes. This guy, it's almost dishonorable to see him in this chat with no ganja love. My goodness.
To build these chips.
I wish I could just give them out and hand you one of those because you deserve it here.
Fabs pay over $100,000. You don't need a college degree for them. And there's billions, about $40 billion already being invested and being built right now in the United States.
Yo, Fuko Friday tomorrow.
Significant jobs for Americans all over the world.
Sorry, Joe. You're boring me. Fuko Friday tomorrow on the MMA-HOLES. We're going to be talking at 303. We're also going to be watching Paige Van Zandt get her shit slapped off her face. That her Tourette's is going to be slapped. Her head's going to spin around. It's going to be great. Slap. Clap. Power clap. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about here. I got to take a leak. Here, I'll let these guys do.
From all over the world.
President
Let me know
Biden,
if I miss
you have
anything.
40 seconds left. Would you like to add anything?
Yeah, I would. The idea that somehow we are this failing country. I never heard a president talk like this before. We're the envy of the world. Name me a single major country president who wouldn't trade places with the United States of America for all our problems and all our opportunities. We're the most progressive country in the world in getting things done. We're the strongest country in the world. We're a country in the world who keeps our word, and everybody trusts us. All of our allies and those who he coddles up to, from Kim Jong-un, he sends love letters to, and Putin, etc. They don't want to screw around with us.
Thank you. Former President Trump, to follow up, you would be 82 at the end of your 2nd term. What do you say to voters who have concerns about your capabilities to serve?
Well, I took 2 tests, cognitive tests. I aced them, both of them, as you know. We made it public. He took none. I'd like to see him take one, just one, a real easy one. Like go through the first 5 questions. He couldn't do it. But I took 2 cognitive tests. I took physical exams every year. And, you know, we knock on wood wherever we may have wood, that I'm in very good health. I just won 2 club championships, not even senior, 2 regular club championships. To do that, you have to be quite smart, and you have to be able to hit the ball a long way, and I do it. He doesn't do it. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. He challenged me to a golf match. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. I think I'm in very good shape. I feel that I'm as in good a shape as I was 25.
Shit, they're talking about their age. Ah, fuck. All right, hold on. Let me back that ass up. Damn, yeah, it sounds like something funny.
The idea that somehow we are this failing country. I never heard a president talk like this before. We're the envy of the world. Name me a single major country president who wouldn't trade places with the United States of America for all our problems and all our opportunities. We're the most progressive country in the world in getting things done. We're the strongest country in the world. We're a country in the world who keeps our word, and everybody trusts us, all of our allies, and those who he coddles up to, from Kim Jong-un, who he sends love letters to, and Putin, etc. They don't want to screw around with us.
Thank you. Former President Trump, to follow up, you would be 82 at the end of your second term. What do you say to voters who have concerns about your capabilities to serve?
Well, I took 2 tests, cognitive tests. I aced them, both of them, as you know. We made it public. He took none. I'd like to see him take one, just one, a real easy one. I'd go through the first 5 questions. He couldn't do it. But I took 2 cognitive tests. I took physical exams every year. And, you know.
I do want to see. I want to see. Oh, my God. I do want to. Oh, my God.
We knock on wood wherever we may have wood, that I'm in very good health. I just won 2 club championships, not even senior, 2 regular club championships. To do that, you have to be quite smart, and you have to be able to hit the ball a long way, and I do it. He doesn't do it. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. He challenged me to a golf match. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. I think I'm in very good shape. I feel that I'm as in good a shape as I was 25, 30 years ago. Actually, I'm probably a little bit lighter, but I'm in as good a shape as I was years ago. I feel very good. I feel the same. But I was willing to take a cognitive test, and you know what? If I didn't do well, I aced him. Dr. Ronnie Jackson, who's a great guy when he was White House doctor, and then I took another one, a similar one, and one of them said they've never seen anybody ace him.
Thank you. President Biden?
You can see he is 6'5" and only 223 pounds, or 235 pounds. Well, you said 6'4", 200. Well, anyway, that's what you're. Just take a look at what he says he is, and take a look at what he is. Look, I'd be happy to have a driving contest with him. The reason I got my handicap, which when I was vice president, down to a 6. And by the way, I told you before, I'm happy to play golf if you carry your own bag. Think you can do it?
That's the biggest lie. That he's a 6 handicap of all.
I was an 8 handicap.
Yeah.
8. But I have, you know how many?
I've seen you swing. I know you swing.
President Trump, we're going to.
Let's not act like.
I've seen you swing. I know you swing. Oh my God! Here's a golf.
Like children.
To a specific concern.
Hold on.
I've seen you swing. I know you swing.
Let's
not act like children.
President Trump, we're going to.
Let's not act like children.
To a specific concern that voters have about you. Will you pledge tonight that once all legal challenges have been exhausted, that you will accept the results of this election, regardless of who wins, and you will say right now that political violence in any form is unacceptable?
Well, I shouldn't have to say that, but of course I believe that. It's totally unacceptable. And if you would see my statements that I made on Twitter at the time, and also my statement that I made in the Rose Garden, you would say it's one of the strongest statements you've ever seen. In addition to the speech I made in front of, I believe, the largest crowd I've ever spoken to, and I will tell you, nobody ever talks about that. They talk about a relatively small number of people that went to the Capitol, and in many cases were ushered in by the police. And as Nancy Pelosi said, it was her responsibility, not mine. She said that loud and clear. But the answer is, if the election is fair, free, and I want that more than anybody. And I'll tell you something. I wish he was a great president, because I wouldn't be here right now. I'd be at one of my many places enjoying myself. I wouldn't be under indictment, because I wouldn't have been his political opponent, because he indicted me because I was his opponent. I wish he was a great president. I would rather have that. I wouldn't be here. I don't mind being here, but the only reason I'm here is he's so bad as a president that I'm going to make America great again. We're going to make America great again. We're a failing nation right now. We're a seriously failing nation. And we're a failing nation because of him. His policies are so bad. His military policies are insane. They're insane. These are wars that will never end with him. He will drive us into World War III, and we're closer to World War III than anybody can imagine. We are very, very close to World War III, and he's driving us there. And Kim Jong-un and President Xi of China, Kim Jong-un of North Korea, all of these, Putin, they don't respect him. They don't fear him. They have nothing going with this gentleman, and he's going to drive us into World War III.
Oof.
You want a World War III, let him follow and win, and let Putin say, do what you want, NATO. Just do what you want. There's a thing called Article 5.
Look at his eyes.
Attack on one is attack on all, and required response. The idea, I can't think of a single major leader in the world who wouldn't trade places with the job I've done and what they've done. Because we are a powerful nation. We have wonderful people. It's because of the people, not me. It's because of the American people. They're capable of anything, and they step up when they're needed. And right now, we're needed. We're needed to protect the world because our own safety is at stake. And again, you want to have a war, just let Putin go ahead and take Kyiv, make sure they move on, see what happens in Poland, Hungary, and other places along that border. Then you have a war.
President Trump, as I come back to you for a follow-up, the question was, will you accept the results of this election, regardless of who wins?
Just to finish what he said, if I might. Russia, they took a lot of land from Bush. They took a lot of land from Obama and Biden. They took no land, nothing from Trump, nothing. He knew not to do it. He's not going to play games with me. He knew that. I got along with him very well, but he knew not to play games. He took nothing from me. But now he's going to take the whole thing from this man right here. That's a war that should have never started. It would have never started, ever, with me. And he's going to take Ukraine. And, you know, you asked me a question before, would you do this? He's got us in such a bad position right now with Ukraine and Russia, because Ukraine's not winning that war. He said, I will never settle until such time. They're running out of people. They're running out of soldiers. They've lost so many people. It's so sad. They've lost so many people, and they've lost those gorgeous cities with the golden domes that are 1,000 years old, all because of him and stupid decisions. Russia would have never attacked.
President Trump, the question was, will you accept the results of the election, regardless of who wins? Yes or no, please.
Damn.
If it's a fair and legal and good election, absolutely. I would have much rather accepted these, but the fraud and everything else was ridiculous. And if you want, we'll have a news conference on it in a week, or we'll have another one of these in a week. But I will absolutely, there's nothing I'd rather do. It would be much easier for me to do that than I'm running again. I wasn't really going to run until I saw the horrible job he did. He's destroying our country. I would be very happy to be someplace else, in a nice location someplace.
No, he's such a liar.
No indictments, no political opponent stuff, because it's the only way he thinks he can win. But unfortunately, it's driven up my numbers and driven them up to a very high level because the people understand it.
This fucking guy.
Let's see what your numbers are when this election is over. Let's see. You're a whiner. When you lost the first time, you continued, you appealed and appealed to courts all across the country. Not one single court in America said any of your claims had any merit, state or local, none. But you continue to provoke this lie about somehow there's all this misrepresentation, all this stealing. There is no evidence of that at all. And I tell you what, I doubt whether you'll accept it because you're such a whiner. The idea, if you lose again, you accepting anything, you can't stand the loss. Something snapped in you when you lost the last time.
We'll be right back with more from the CNN presidential debate, live from Georgia.
That's right, from Georgia. Yeah, Georgia. Michael Jackson. What do we got here? How much longer is this fucking thing? I thought we were almost done with this. Yeah, it looks like we're right there. We're right there, guys. Where are we at? 3:24. Okay. We have 10 more minutes of this shit. Let's go. Let's get through this. feel like we've seen it all. We've heard it all.
From the debacle that was left by President Trump in his last term. We find ourselves in a situation where, number one, we have to make sure that we have a fair tax system. I ask anyone out there in the audience, or anyone out watching this debate,
here we go.
do you think the tax system is fair? The fact is that I said nobody even making under $400,000 had a single penny increase in their taxes, and will not. And if I'm reelected, that'll be the case again. But this guy has increased your taxes because of the deficit, number one. He's increased inflation because of the debacle he left after the way he handled the pandemic. And he finds himself in a position where he now wants to tax you more by putting a 10% tariff on everything that comes into the United States of America. What I did, when, for example, he wants to get rid of the ability of Medicare to...
I can't even listen to this guy, man. I can't even listen to him. He's so unlistenable.
For the ability us to be able to negotiate drug prices with the big pharma companies. Well, guess what? We got it down to $35 for insulin instead of $400. No more than $2,000 for every senior, no matter how much prescription they need. You know what that did? That reduced the federal debt by $160 billion over 10 years because the government doesn't have to pay the exorbitant prices. I'm going to make that available to every senior all along. It's happening now, and everybody in America. He wants to get rid of that. I'm going to make sure that we have child care. We're going to significantly increase the credit people have for child care. I'm going to make sure we do something about what we're doing on lead pipes and all the things that are causing health problems for people across the country. We're going to continue to fight to bring down inflation and give people a break.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump, you now have 2 minutes for your closing statement.
Man.
Like so many politicians, this man is just a complainer. He said, we want to do this, we want to do that, we want to get rid of this tax, that tax. But he doesn't do anything. All he does is make our country unsafe by allowing millions and millions of people to pour in. Our military doesn't respect him. We look like fools in Afghanistan. We didn't stop Israel. It was such a horrible thing that would have never happened. It should have never happened. Iran was broke. Anybody that did business with Iran, including China, they couldn't do business with the United States. They all passed. Iran was broke. They had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah, for terror, no money whatsoever.
Hezbollah.
Again, Ukraine should have never happened. He talks about all this stuff, but he didn't do it. For 3.5 years, we're living in hell. We have the Palestinians and we have everybody else rioting all over the place. You talk about Charlottesville. This is 100 times Charlottesville, 1,000 times. The whole country is exploding because of you, because they don't respect you, and they have to respect their president, and they don't respect you throughout the world. What we did was incredible. We rebuilt the military. We got the largest tax cut in history, the largest regulation cut in history. The reason he's got jobs is because I cut the regulations that gave jobs, but he's putting a lot of those regulations back on. All of the things that we've done, nobody's never seen anything like, even from a medical standpoint, right to try, where we can try space-age materials instead of going to Asia or going to Europe and trying to get, when you're terminally ill, now you can go and you can get something. You sign a document. They've been trying to get it for 42 years. But you know what we did for the military was incredible. Choice for our soldiers, where our soldiers, instead of waiting for 3 months to see a doctor, can go out and get themselves fixed up and readied up and take care of themselves, and they're living. And that's why I had the highest approval rating in the history of the VA. So all of these things, we're in a failing nation, but it's not going to be failing anymore. We're going to make it great again.
Thank you, former President Trump.
I tell you what, man. I think they both kind of didn't stick the landing. Right? I don't know.
President Biden, stay with us because we have full analysis of this debate. Anderson Cooper and Aaron Burnett starts now on CNN.
That's it. All right. Well, I mean, clearly we know
so
who
we've
won.
been watching the wrap-up debate hosted by...
An hour and 40 minutes or so, and clashed repeatedly on the major topics of the day, including economy, abortion, immigration, childcare, Social Security, and of course, the key issue, the competence of both men, both one of the oldest presidents in history, if elected.
The candidates also traded several personal attacks.
I want to hear like critical I want to hear like people actually like
At
talking.
times halting, at times he seemed to lose his train of thought. At times he started to talk about one topic, for example, the economy, and then shifted to Afghanistan, which gave former President Trump an opening. And the topic of abortion, his strongest topic coming into tonight, he raised the issue of immigration, which gave former President Trump an opening. As the night progressed,
Yeah, a bunch of layups. He was just lobbing the ball up.
he did begin to pick up steam. He had some really strong moments on the issues of what his administration, for example, has done for veterans. But zooming out, this was a debate about performance. This was a debate about allaying Americans' concerns about his ability to serve another 4 years. And I and a number of reporters at NBC News have heard from a range of Democrats who have said that they are concerned by tonight's debate. One telling me of this race, quote, "This is effectively over." This person predicting, look, Democrats are still going to stand by Biden, despite the fact that you do have some Democrats tonight wondering if that will be the case moving forward.
Who the fuck is sticking with this dude? Who in their right mind sticking with him?
But there has been some tough language.
Who in their right mind?
Shout outs Moss.
Thank you, Justin Eisenhart, for scaring the shit out of me with a super chat. It is much appreciated. The 499. Let's go. Yeah, come on, that's the guy. Thank you. Listen, we don't really do political shit over here, and we're probably not going to do much more. But I thought this is pretty interesting, to be honest. And I like hearing the liberal side. We know what Fox is going to just roast the shit out of Biden, which they have so much ammunition. I want to hear if there's going to be excuses or what. And it seems like majority of people have brains in their head to know that Biden's a mess, but some people are going to just sink with the ship.
That people have been reaching out to offer in terms of the performance that they saw tonight from President Biden. It is also important to note former President Trump unleashed a torrent at times of misinformation, some of which President Biden fact-checked, some of which went unanswered.
Well, what about Biden's misinformation? None of that?
You have to wonder if the format of this debate, the fact that the mics were muted, may have played a role in this. But again, a slow start to this debate for President Biden. He did pick up steam. We'll have to see how people play it.
Let's go to Holly Jackson, who's in the spin room down in Atlanta. And I mean, here's a race that in some ways was essentially tied, perhaps, Donald Trump.
Oh, incoming flaring nostrils. Look out.
In the most of the national polls and swing state polls going into it, had a lead in most of them. The Biden campaign wanted and needed a
Look at this guy on the left. He looks familiar. This guy's been around for a while, right? He looks like he legit looks like a dinosaur. Like when they say, hey, old people are dinosaurs, he looks like a dinosaur. He's got the fucking head. He's got like that triceratops head. All he's missing is the horns. Look at this dinosaur. No, he really looks like a fucking dinosaur.
compelling performance from their.
If someone were to tell me that he had a velociraptor uncle, I would be like, I would believe him.
Candidate, did they get it?
If a voter, Savannah, was tuning in, looking to see about concerns being alleviated about President Biden's age or strength or capability for office, it is not at all clear that that is what they got from this performance by President Biden tonight, which was shaky. It was a shaky start, wooden at times, meandering at times. I will tell you that in about the back half of the debate, maybe the latter third of the debate, I heard from a Democratic lawmaker, a member of Congress who has been a strong supporter of President Biden's, who suggested the possibility, Savannah, of perhaps an open convention or replacing President Biden on the ticket. I will tell you,
that's happening.
It is all but potentially impossible for that to actually happen.
That's happening.
The fact that that is even being raised, the fact that that is even a shadow now hanging over the debate performance for President Biden is at minimum
Bring in camel toe.
a headache for the Biden campaign moving into the next stretch of this campaign ahead of the Republican convention in the next couple weeks, and at worst, potentially something that will dog them now for months, given what we have seen from voters in polling consistently, which is, yes, concern about President Biden's age. Now, all of that said, I'm in the spin room, and they call it the spin room for a reason, Savannah. It is because you have surrogates here for both campaigns, and of course the Biden campaign out here trying to make the case that their candidates did well. And I will tell you what some of the early spin is now from Team Biden, suggesting that former President Trump's answer, for example, on January 6th was not a good one, that people are turned off by his insults, by his attacks on President Biden here. But remember the sort of social economy that we're in right now, Savannah and Lester, this idea that these sort of clippable, shareable moments are what people tend to see. If they're not watching tonight, then perhaps the next day or the day after. And there are some moments here that the Biden campaign is going to find tough to swallow based on the president's performance tonight.
Yeah. Speaking of the spin room and surrogates.
It's really funny. You know, I'll give him credit for knowing that their dude literally flopped. I got to give him credit. They're not they're not defending him at all. He did. He soiled himself and fell asleep. Dude, it's so funny, man. It's so funny. It's so funny watching this. It's like the whole fucking left side is up in flames right now after this. So if you're Team Red, you got to be like jumping for joy right now. This has got to be a phenomenal W for you guys tonight, right? Because this is nuts, man. What a mess.
I'm going to do that right now and go to Biden campaign national co-chair, former Mayor Mitch Landrieu. And Mr. Mayor, let's just put a fine point on it. Was this the commanding performance from your candidate you hope to see?
Well,
what do they expect? Like, there couldn't be much optimism going into this.
I thought it was a really bare knuckles brawl. I think they're right. The president started off slow.
Did I say bare knuckles?
But then he came back. But the most compelling thing about tonight that you were right about more than you're right about anything else is that when Donald Trump was speaking, he was lying. And the fact that there was no fact checking is incredible. It's really hard to.
Well, there should be fact checking. I agree. Both of them were completely lying. Both, I mean, in multiple situations.
Debate somebody who was untethered from the truth. He doubled down on the fact that January 6th really wasn't a big deal. He doubled down on the fact that he thought those folks were patriots. He doubled down on the fact that he was an election denier. He doubled down on the fact that he thought reversing Roe versus Wade was a great idea. He doubled down on the fact that the economy was the best in the world when in fact it was not. And so these debates have a way of coursing over time. But before tomorrow morning, when you fact check what was said, you are going to find out that almost everything that Donald Trump said tonight was a fabricated lie. And the fact that he couldn't fact check him in time is difficult.
But Mr. Mayor, will that be the conversation, or will the conversation be about the physical performance?
When this guy's talking, I hear. You remember that Triceratops that was lying its own shit, and they were trying to heal it, bring it back to in the first Jurassic Park? Okay.
Wonderful, wonderful.
All I see is a Triceratops head on this guy. Such a Triceratops. Crazy. The fuck? They find this guy.
I think because of the way people analyze debates, it's going to be at first about the physical performance. But when you get into the substance of what was said, I think the takeaway from this was that Joe Biden was right on the substance. He told the truth. He has a better record. America is stronger. People respect us more. The economy is better. And Donald Trump, literally, to every question that was asked of him, he did not tell the truth. It was like he was living in another universe. But if you can't fact something.
Well, he wasn't answering the questions. That is true. He was not answering the questions. But saying he's lying about everything, I don't know about that. I think there were lies back and forth. But he wasn't answering the questions.
Check somebody, and somebody.
This guy's a homer, though. I mean, Jesus.
Isn't ashamed of not telling the truth. It is a very difficult situation, and I thought you saw that in real time tonight. But what you also did see was let me finish, with President Biden actually.
Let me finish. Oh, man, this guy.
Fighting for the people that really he believes in, and Donald Trump becoming obsessed again with himself and almost being unhinged in some moments.
Mr. Mayor, you talk about fact checks.
Who's he the mayor of? God, I hope. Who the hell lives in his state? Who's this guy the mayor of? My goodness. Oh, there he's back. What a movie. I gotta get out of here. What the fuck am I doing? It's too late for this shit. All I see is Triceratops is on my screen.
One of the key issues in this
Who's he the mayor of?
campaign, and the polls show it over and over again, a core issue for voters is whether or not President Biden has the competence and ability to complete a second term.
What do we got? What's going on here? Not the Gozerian. How you doing? Oh, you were gifted. KC gifts the memberships deep into the stream. Thank you, KC. You're the best. Thank you, guys. You guys are fucking awesome. Hope you guys had a great time tonight. What a stream. This is long as fuck. This is 3 hours. Holy smokes.
So the fact check is before their eyes. They're able to assess it. Was the President Biden that you saw tonight the individual?
Yeah, at least this woman's like, hey, man, all right, you've been sucking his dick pretty good here. Let's be real now.
You know, so if people assess based on what they saw tonight that this is the president who will serve another 4 years, are you comfortable with that assessment?
Good on this broad. Good on this broad. This is the question. This is the right question.
Based on what you saw tonight.
I am. I served with President Biden for 2 years. I was with him on a regular basis, and I've seen him recently. I think that he's fine. I think he had a cold tonight. I think he looked a little sluggish when he came out.
Oh my God! Who's this guy the mayor of? Who is that guy the mayor of? What state? Oh, God bless that state. No, that's scary as all hell. Discord. KC has gifted the members. What state is? What is he the mayor of? Does anyone live in his state? Members, please. All right. Breaking. Border Patrol union responds after President Joe Biden says the Border Patrol supports him. Biden, by the way, the Border Patrol endorsed my position. In addition to that, we found ourselves in a situation. Border Patrol union, to be clear, we never have and never will endorse Biden. Wow. Oh, boy.
Wonderful.
That's pretty funny. That's hilarious, actually. Oh my God, dude. That's craziness.
But as the night went on, I think he really kind of rose to the occasion.
So no one knows who this guy's the mayor of. Shit, we should have been paying attention. Oh, man. Wow.
It's going to be a very, very difficult night. It was a bare-knuckles brawl, but I'm proud of the fact that he stood up to Donald Trump and the mistruths that he told.
This guy's ready to sink with the ship.
And he tried to lay his plan out for the American people.
All right, Mitch Landrieu, Biden campaign co-chair, thank you so much. We want to turn now to our
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. Our senior national correspondent.
This guy, what is this, Jimmy Fallon? He's on the scene.
Tom Yamas is on the floor of the
Here's the Tonight Show host.
room. Tom, what are you hearing?
Is that Kainoto? Wait, hold on. That's fucking Kainoto. Is that his? Look, his eyes are closed. Is that Kainoto? I don't know if Kainoto's still up, but I think that's him. I've seen this guy before. He's been on Fuqua Friday. And there he's over there.
Savannah, good to be with you tonight. So listen, campaigns, elections, they are all about strategies. The Biden campaign strategy in the spin room is a little odd right now. All these people are waiting for any Democratic strategist to come out, anyone from the Biden campaign, anybody who supports Joe Biden to come out here and defend his performance. Right now, you can see there are not a lot of people here. To be fair, they have chosen a different space from what we understand. They're going to have surrogates there as well. But if I turn the camera around the spin room, all these people here, these people are talking to Trump supporters. These are Trump surrogates that are out here, right? People like Vivek Ramaswamy, people like Representative Stefanik. We saw Senator Rubio enter the room as well.
Oh my God, dude! It's like a popularity contest, man. Everyone's over on the Trump side. Crickets on the Biden
Essentially,
side.
the point I'm trying to make is that the Trump team is out here on the offense. They're out here saying basically that President Biden had a very bad debate.
Yo, why don't they got their boys out there defending? Or girls? Where the trans at? Someone's got to be out there defending.
that President Trump, obviously the candidate they're supporting, had a much better debate, and that the decision now is clear, right? That if the American viewers, the voters, saw the performance from President Biden, the choice is clear. Again, I'm sure in the moments to come, President Biden will be out. Somebody from his team will come out here and defend the president's performance. But right now, again, listen, all these reports.
Mayor of New Orleans, is that who that guy is? 2010 to 2018. Damn, man. No wonder New Orleans is such a shithole these days. What the well, actually, that's probably around when I went to New Orleans. Yeah, it was a shithole then. Great place to hang, though. It was a fun place. But, I mean, living there has got to be real rough. Man. Great people, too. Sonosi vid is just above the one you read. Oh, the racist Joe Biden? Well, I'm gonna play this thing out and probably hit the hay. Probably get out of here.
Orders, and there's dozens of them, are waiting for anyone
This is
to
hilarious.
come out right now from the Biden campaign. And listen, this is the spin room. So even though they have a different room that they wanted to put their people in, as far as strategy goes, as far as where the reporters are, this is where everyone is right now. And again, all these piles of people you see here, all these reporters.
This is so funny because this is NBC, and they're just fucking panicking. It's so funny, man. It's really funny. Like, if you went to Fox, you knew they were just gonna be slamming these guys, right? So you know what you're gonna get over there, but it's just so funny watching the people on this side over here just fucking freaking out, just panicking. Abandoned ship. We're sinking.
Reporters, these cameras, they're surrounding Trump surrogates. You can see the signs up there, right? Senator Tim Scott. Let's walk over. Vivek Ramaswamy's over here. Senator Marco Rubio's over here. Let's go see if we can get Senator Rubio real quick.
they're all with their chest just puffed out, just celebrating like they won the election.
We're going to send it back to you guys in the studio as we give you a live shot
Look at
of
this.
Senator Rubio, and we'll stay out here in the spin room floor.
I tell you, Rubio's got it. He's a good speaker, right?
Very good, Tom. Thank you. Joining us now from the debate spin room is North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum. Governor, good evening.
North Dakota governor's coming in, just flew in off a nest. What, he's like, look at this guy. Looks like he just fed his children after regurgitating his kill. Look at this fucking bird of a man.
Evening. Thank you for being with us.
Oh, it's like Kramer. He just kicked the door open. Oh, my God. It's so funny.
Lester, great to be with you.
We heard from the surrogate for the Biden campaign that President Trump, in their view, flooded the zone with untruths, half-truths. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I think my reaction is that President Trump had a very strong performance that I think America saw. If they saw the challenges that Joe Biden had just delivering a message, and he didn't have an answer on inflation, he didn't have an answer on the border, and I think that's what the Americans I talk to, Republicans, Independents, Democrats, those are the two things that are affecting them most. The border isn't about immigration, it's about national security and public safety, and we didn't hear answers to that. And I think me as a business guy listening to it, it's clear that Joe Biden's got a 50-year-long philosophy, which is essentially anti-business. Right now, of course, America's economy buried in regulation. He wants to raise taxes, and every solution is higher taxes and more spending. And so I think that people didn't see anything new. There was no vision there, and people know that they were better off under President Trump. And so I think tonight, big win for President Trump.
And Governor, on style points, the fact that there was no audience, do you think that in the end helped the former president?
Well, I think that President Trump showed what he shows a lot of people, which is whether he's in small groups or whether he's at fundraisers. I mean, he's right now, he's in a great spot. He's calm, he's strong, he's confident. I mean, this is not the guy that was running in 2016. He knows what it's like to be president. He's done it before. He's surrounded himself by a great campaign team. And I think he's very confident about how he's going forward. I think that showed in his performance tonight.
Governor, can I ask you something? A lot of folks are just tuning in, really paying attention. They're not political junkies like you or I may be, and they're just tuning in right now. And one of the last
I couldn't
things
imagine
they remember,
being a
of course,
political junkie. It sounds horrific. I couldn't, this is a one and done. I don't know if we'll do another one anytime soon. Unless it's, as funny as this. But I don't know why people are so into this shit. On a daily basis. This is like, I don't know. It's like White Castle. You know? You can't eat that shit every day. It's delicious sometimes. Sometimes it's like sometimes you're drunk and you got to have the White Castle. You deal with the consequences the next day. You shit it all out and the shit smells horrible. This is what talking politics is, eating White Castle, you know? That's what it is. This is our future. I mean, we don't know what the fuck our future is, to be honest. You know, like at the end of the day, all presidents are puppets. Just Donald Trump's a little bit less of a puppet, but I mean, he's a slave to the people around him, really. You know? So that's all they really are. So I look at it like this. When I want a president that I can fucking look at and say, okay, that's a powerful dude. You know, that's a guy I can get behind. That's all. You got to be a good speaker. I don't know. What am I talking about? Why am I doing this? I'm so done. I'm already out. We were going to do 303, the press conference. It's just too late. So if you were here for that, I apologize. If you stayed the whole 3 hours and said, where's the 303? I apologize. No, I don't. I don't care. Everyone said it sucked. So if you want to go see it, go to their YouTube channel. This was funny. The debate was funny. We got to see a triceratops and, you know, a flaming ship sink. If you go to the Discord, you can see Biden being all racist. It's probably hilarious. You going to vote? No. No, I'm not. I'm not going to vote. I know people are fucking like, what do you mean? I mean, I got to be honest with you. Like, we're doomed regardless. Although there's a better option, clear better option right now. But I'm not getting involved. I voted years back. I'm good. I'm good. So I'm just going to sit from afar and let it all play out. See what happens. I'll be able to vote just in time. All right, Jamie. Yeah, get your vote in, man. Listen, when you're a young man, young woman out there, I do urge you guys to vote. Go in the direction that you think is right for your future. You know, but make sure you're taking all the information. Make sure if you're going to vote for the guy that sets you up on a better path, you know, hopefully. We aren't doomed, for fuck's sake. We have each other. Yeah, that's right. That's true. We do have each other. I tell you what, I don't know what I'd do without YouTube. Without the YouTube, without 8 years of rambling into a microphone. It's the greatest thing ever. Greatest community ever. Look at you guys hanging out on the second channel, just shooting it. Like we're not talking MMA, and here we are, just bullshitting about politics. No one's killing each other. We had one rage quit. Johnny Smith is a good guy, though. He's cool. One rage quit. I thought we would have way more rage quits tonight. If you're going to vote, don't vote for the pedophile. Don't vote for the pedophile. Yeah. A weird sniffing children guy. Every vote counts, especially when the country is. Yeah, I mean, listen. I am not educated enough, to be honest. That's why I don't vote. It's not like, and I'm not going to shit on people that don't vote or do vote. And it's why I don't have a heavy political opinion, because I stopped voting. I've voted before, and then after the fact, so I made the wrong decision, you know? So I feel like no matter who I vote for, I'm going to feel this weird guilt that I made the wrong decision. So I don't vote. I don't. I don't know. I just don't do it. There's no right answer, you know? But I'll tell you this. There's a clear favorite right now, and I would probably go with the favorite if I was going to vote, you know? I mean, but it's obvious. Like, you saw that room. Everyone was over on one side. So tonight was a dub for the red team. I'm curious to see what the blue team comes out with. I don't know how you do damage. I mean, you got to eject Biden. You got to you got to say, hey, man, we just can't get behind you. Omar says Biden won the debate. There you go. That's the dumbest thing I've read. Actually, I hope, did Omar, actually, that would actually be cool if I don't think he believes it. Yeah, I think he's fucking around. But if anyone thought Biden won the debate, let me know in the chat, and let me know why. I mean, I don't know how you can really, I'm pretty even I'm in the middle. Like I'm leaning heavily lately, but you know, I like to hear both sides. Biden just fell in a pile of poo. A poo he took outside the building next to the homeless man. I had never voted. Is that true, Casey? That's the thing. Like, I used to have hard opinions on politics back in the day when I voted. Now I don't vote, so that's why I never really take a hard opinion on things. I may lean heavily in situations, but I don't take hard sides. I feel if you don't vote, you really should shut the fuck up, to be honest. Yeah. All right. I'm going to go. What should I eat, guys? I want to binge on something. I'm hungry. I'm starving. All right. Munchie time, baby. We're going to do Fuko Friday tomorrow. We're going to discuss UFC 303. We are going to watch Paige Van Zandt get knocked out in Power Slap. It's going to be glorious. So go on over to the MMA Holes. It's skyrocketing with subscribers. I mean, through the roof. Nothing is stopping. Right now, 87,500 and... Oh, we just lost one. 506. But we hit 87,500, which I was like, holy shit, man. We should be celebrating every 100 subscribers. We should, but we haven't. I don't know why, but 90K is incoming. Right, Erie?
I'm coming.
We would have hit 90K no problem if Conor would have fucking showed up with his damn toe. But we got Yuri and Alex. Great stuff, man. Great main event. I'm looking forward to chatting with you guys about tomorrow. All right, guys. Thank you. Thank you for stopping by. We got to go. What do you want to play? Let's see. What song should we play? We've got so many songs. What should we play? Remember, going over to MMAHOLES.tv. Get that traffic going over there. Make your predictions. We just had an update. I can't wait. Oh, I can't wait until we can get you guys to chat with each other on MMAHOLES.tv. I can't wait for that. That will be completely open and free, and you guys can kind of mingle over there. Can't wait for that. Like, because I got to be honest with you, the Discord has become complete AIDS. I go into Discord, and I'm like, what the fuck? We got sections and departments, and we got a lot of archive stuffs in there, but it is a train wreck, the Discord right now. So I am looking forward to seeing what we can do with the website. It's probably gonna be a train wreck too, but maybe it'll be a cleaner train wreck. All right, guys, we'll see you on MMA Holes.
Goat milk is where you make the picks. Goat milk is where you milk the nits. Only one will be the champ. Hoist that belt and make the ladies dance. Make it to the top of the leaderboard. Milky milk the victor with the highest score. Link up with your fellow holes. Unleash the dragons and crush the trolls.
Hold on, Jamie. The website will be pretty easy. So if it's not going to be an app right away, we'd love to make it an app at some time, but you literally can make this shortcut on your cell phone. So you'll have this shortcut just like an app. You click on it and you'll have like the chat and you'll have other features as well. It's going to be a one-stop shop. So yeah, Discord it's easy because it's an app, but I got to be honest with you, like, we're going to try to make this flow pretty good on the website, and it's going to give you like a mobile feel to it. Oh, it's not the same on iPhone? Wait, you can't make a shortcut? Stop. You can't make a shortcut to the website on your iPhone? There's no fucking way. Is that true? It'll be pretty fast. It's going to be, so we're not doing message board. We have other ideas that we want to do. Hopefully we can bang it out soon. What? You haven't been able to make a shortcut? Does anyone have an iPhone in the chat? I don't know why you would even have a... It's 2024. What do we do with iPhones? Does anyone know how to make a shortcut? There's got to be a way to make a shortcut. Hold on a second. Hold on. I guarantee you there's a YouTube video on this. There's got to be. If you can't make a shortcut on your... my brother was having a problem with his iPhone too. He couldn't make a fucking account on his iPhone. I'm like, what is happening? Why is iPhone gotta be so fucking difficult? All right, hold on a second. Make website. There's got to be a way. I mean, that's crazy. You can't do that. Yeah, bookmark. How to make a website shortcut on an iPhone. 10 months ago. Wow, look at this dude. All right, hold on. You can't make a shortcut on a fucking iPhone? There's no way. That sounds ridiculous to me. That's insanity. So if you like a website, so for instance, like Tapology or something like that. Tapology doesn't have an app. How the fuck were you guys? You mean to tell me you had to Google search, or you had to go into your bookmarks to go to Tapology? That's fucking crazy. Dude, I can't wrap my head around iPhones. I don't know why. I just never understood. I've used iPhones. My friends have it. It seems so fucking ridiculously primitive. It's just like an app if you bookmark it. Hold on. Let's see what this guy. Add to home screen. Here we go. Let's see what this guy says.
First way is just by opening up Safari, and then what you need to do is go to the website. For example, if I wanted to go and create a shortcut to Apple, just go and search for Apple like so. So Apple, and then this is the website.
Yes.
And then once you're on the website, all you then need to do is go to the bottom of Safari and go and click on the share button in the middle, and the share button is the square with the arrow coming out of it. So click on it. I'm just going to have to blur it here as it shows some contact information. But then what you need to do is just scroll down, and you should then go and see the option for add to home screen with the plus to the right. So click on that. That's there. Crazy. And then what you can do is go.
Bro, what do you got? You got to fucking sacrifice 4 fucking sheep. And then you got to kill the firstborns of everyone on your block. And then after that, you got to eat your own shit. Shit that shit out, and then eat the shit of the shit. The fuck?
Name the shortcut. So I may go and name this just Apple. It was already that actually. And then below the name, you can go and see what the web address is when you go and click on that shortcut. And then on the left of it, you can also go and see the icon, which is going to appear as well.
Let me see it.
So then what you can do is then go and click on add in the top right. And there we go. As you can see, I've now created this shortcut in the bottom right. And when I
okay, so there you go. And you click on it.
Click on it. It's then going to go and take me straight.
All right, did you get that? If you got iPhones, you could do it. It just, you got to do you jump through a couple of hoops. But this fucking guy just told us. That guy just, so if you have an iPhone, take MMA-HOLES.tv, follow the 14 steps. Dude, that's crazy. I'm picturing my, like, older people in our community with iPhones trying to do that shit. That's nuts. That's fucking nuts. I think, what did I do? I went to the browser and it just said add to home screen, and it was there. And people say, like, Androids are so tough to use. Like, I don't understand. That seems ridiculous. Why would it be? It shouldn't be inconvenient. I mean, the process seems inconvenient, but once you have it, it opens up like an app. It legit, like, it feels like an app. It's crazy. So on my phone, when I click on the MMA-HOLES.tv, it literally, I just forget. I'm like, oh, it's an app. Like, it just feels like an app. You know, so my hopes are when we get the live chat, it's going to be as responsive as Discord. Websites are a lot slower. Oh yeah, there's gonna be lag with the website. I mean, I'll tell you this, once we start making money off of this thing, we can put like a lightning speed server on there, and the shit will feel like an app completely. But we don't have the cash for that. It's just it's so expensive right now to run this thing. So hopefully we'll be able to monetize it soon, and then we can bump up the server. So yeah, it's gonna be slower than an app, but it's not gonna be slower responsively when you're chatting. Like, once the page is up, it's gonna move pretty fast. So yeah, it's not gonna be that hard. It won't. You know, it definitely won't. And for us to make an app for this, dude, we would never be able to afford that. Like, not anytime soon, unless we get an investor, you know, that flips the bill. Every time I talk to a sponsor, it's so funny, especially about MMA-HOLES.tv. They always like, are you guys going to make an app? Like, my bookie asked us. They're like, you guys going to make this into an app? I'm like, yeah, you flipping the bill? I go, they helped us with the website. I'm like, you got to fucking flip the bill for the app? Then let's go. But yeah, it's just server thing. That's the only reason why it's slower, is because if we had a lightning fast server, like paid a fortune for a server, you guys would be blazing through it with no problems, you know? So it's going to lag a little because our server, you know, not the best. But I mean, it's not like dial-up speed, you know? It works. It works. We just want things like instantly, you know? That's the problem. Anyway, all right, bye. See you later. Nah, Discord's going. Discord's definitely going. Patreon Discord will keep. I don't even know if anyone uses that, but that won't keep. But yeah, and it's going to be free on the website. And the reason why we're doing it is because we have to keep bodies on that website. That's the only way. Like, if you guys are chatting, like you guys are spending a lot of time chatting on Discord, and that time spent on Discord, we can monetize that. You know what I'm saying? So like, you guys can hang out on the website, same experience. You guys are chatting away, and we can take those numbers and say, hey, look, they're hanging out on this website. Pay us X amount of dollars with ads. And then boom, you know, we're monetizing, and then we're upgrading the website some more. So with Discord, what are we going to upgrade? You know, we can't have cool features on the Discord because we can't monetize Discord. You know, so that's the whole game plan with the website. We are looking to keep everything one-stop shop on the website, and then adding like even cooler features. So you'll have your Pick'em League and all the other cool stuff that we add on, which you can't have on Discord. You know, one-stop shop for everything. Maybe the show just stays there too. We'll see. We'll be the next Clash TV. All right, bye.
Don't milk this way, you make the bitch. In my house, don't TV.